Okay, we should be live. I should be live. I think everything seems to be working. Let me see. Okay, yeah. Alright, this is probably the most advanced setup I have ever done on Linux. We are streaming live to YouTube using Linux. So on a laptop of all things. Yes, a laptop. This is probably one of those rare streams where if you don't have the bell icon, you're probably not going to know that this stream is happening live. So I don't typically nag people to subscribe to the channel or get the bell icon, their notifications bar, but this is the reason why you'd want to do it if you're interested in this type of stuff. So we are streaming using Fedora 45. This is Fedora 45, the latest distro with, I don't know what exactly kernel it is. I think it's the latest. No, actually, I think it's kernel 6.19 or something. Or 6.9 or whatever. It's the one before 7.0. But yeah, this is gaming on Linux. As you can see, the CPU utilization is very high right now. This is the Ryzen AI 9 HX370, and that's because we are compiling Vulkan shaders for Pragmata right now, and that's why I'm just kind of waiting for it to complete. It's at 90% right now, so it's almost done. The cool thing, or actually something I'm not super... Oh, you know what's really cool here? It actually shows the fan on the Thunderbolt 5 docking station. That's really interesting that this little tool from Linux has the ability to show that. Hey, fake frames. Yeah, I'm actually... It's kind of... You know, for every time I am disappointed with something in Linux, I always get impressed by something else. So like this application that I downloaded, this is called Mission Center. For those of you that are curious, this is Mission Center, and it's probably the closest thing that I have found on Linux that matches the look and feel of Windows Task Manager. And if you've been watching my streams for a while, you know I like to bring up the Task Manager just to show the hardware. So, okay, the Vulkan shaders are almost done. Steam is saying 100%. We're about to see the CPU drop. You can see it's dropping down. For a laptop, high 80s under 100% load is actually very good. These are very good temperatures. Alright, so it looks like I am compiling in the game now, so I gotta get the game up. So let me find that. Pragmata. There it is. There it is. Pragmata compiling shaders. And I'm surprised, you know, with the Mesa drivers on the latest kernel, on a laptop, it's so easy for the operating system for Fedora to know, you know, hey, there's a discrete graphics card in this laptop. I think we need to use this instead of the integrated graphics, which is actually quite good. The Radeon 890M is quite good for a laptop integrated graphics chip. It's one of the better ones. It's definitely above average. But the discrete Radeon RX 7700S, this is not that new. It's pretty old now. It's like a couple years old. I think it's like 2023. Actually, yeah, 2023. So it's kind of like 40 series in terms of NVIDIA's equivalent. But it's still pretty good, and it's surprisingly good on Linux because the AMD drivers are just straight into the kernel. No, this is Fedora 45. So what I did was I installed Fedora 44, and then I had a hard time installing. I think it was DaVinci. There was a certain app that I had a hard time installing, and I had to mess with all the libraries, and then it was like, do you want to install lib12 something, whatever, cannot be found, blah, 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 run something, something. There was a problem that I ran into, I think it was yesterday night or today, and basically I was like, okay, do the preview update, sudo update. So it took me all the way to the preview So we are actually running Fedora 45 Preview Edition right now. I think it's called Rawhide or something. I forgot what the terminology they use. But yeah, this is Fedora 45. Let me see. I gotta find the command to find the actual kernel version. But the kernel version, I think, is like 7.0 or 6, whatever the last 6 dot whatever was prior to 7.0. But yeah, I think this is actually a really, really good laptop for Linux. And the full video for the unboxing and kind of the assembly of how to build this laptop, because this is a build your own laptop and it's meant for Linux, and everything works out of the box on Fedora. I have not tested other distros with this laptop. I only tested Fedora 44, and the fingerprint reader works. Not only does the fingerprint reader work, we're actually using a Thunderbolt 5. Yes, Thunderbolt 5 docking station, because I am running triple monitors. The middle monitor is a 4K monitor. Then I've got two 1080p monitors on the left and the right. And on top of that, I have my laptop 2560 by 1600 165 hertz as a fourth display. So I'm running quad displays with a laptop display plus 4K monitor plus two 1080p monitors. That's triple monitor plus laptop. That's 4 displays. We've got a webcam that I'm using. I'm not using the laptop's built-in webcam. I'm actually using another webcam, which is connected to the Thunderbolt 5 docking station. And I've got the Xbox controller plugged in. I've got the 4K plugged in directly to the GPU on the back of the laptop via the DisplayPort Alt Mode USB-C. So this is a super enthusiast high-end laptop / streaming setup right now, and it is running Fedora 45. And we've got Proton we're not running Proton Hotfix. I think we're running Proton Experimental right now for compatibility. And I'm basically going to try to duplicate the same results that I got with Ubuntu LTS 2404 what was it, 2 weekends ago? Or whenever we did that Linux live stream. But yeah, this is crazy good, man. 96 gigabytes of DDR5, 5600 mega transfer. Yes, upgradable SODIMM on a laptop. 96 gigs. This laptop is certified. 96 is the maximum that Framework has certified. So the memory that I'm using is on their QVL list for the laptop. And then we've got dual NVMe. Now, I don't know how to access this second. I got a 2 terabyte SSD in here. This is a 2230, and then this one is the 4 terabyte 2280 or 2380, 2230 and 2280. Yeah, so we got the full length 2280 4 terabyte Western Digital. Then we have an additional 2 terabyte 2230 small one, but I don't know how to get this to work with Linux. So when I installed Linux from the bootable Rufus USB that I made, basically the Micro Center USB little thumb drive that I used to install the Fedora 44, I didn't know how to access this SSD. So basically I have a 2 terabyte SSD in here that's doing absolutely nothing. You can see it is idling at 26 degrees Celsius, doing nothing. Then we have 2.5 gig Ethernet, or maybe it's 5 gig. It's out of the docking station. The Thunderbolt 5 docking station is providing wired internet. On top of that, we have Wi-Fi 7. And that's the other thing that impresses me about Framework. Framework certifies that Wi-Fi 7 works out of the box on Fedora and Ubuntu and Bazzite. So there's 3 distros where you can get full Wi-Fi 7 6 gigahertz signaling through this laptop. And then you also have the fingerprint reader, and that was the thing, man. Like, how often do you find a laptop with a fingerprint reader that actually works reliably with Linux? And it works reliably with Fedora. And on top of that, Thunderbolt 5 docking station. Now, obviously, this laptop is not a Thunderbolt 5, aka USB 4 version 2 enabled laptop. This is a USB 4 version 1.0, aka Thunderbolt 3/Thunderbolt 4 compatible laptop. So we are literally using the Thunderbolt 5 docking station with the USB 4 version 1 laptop, and it is obviously backwards compatible. It's working fine on Linux, as you guys can see here. On top of that, the reason why I'm using this Thunderbolt 5 docking station is because the Framework 16 supports USB-C power delivery up to 240 watts. So the charger that ships with the laptop is a 240 watt USB-C GAN charger. The Thunderbolt 5 docking station that I'm using can deliver up to 180 watts of power delivery over the Thunderbolt 5 cable. And that is actually, if you guys are familiar with Framework's first generation, Framework 16, that laptop, or this laptop, the original version, used to ship with a 180 watt GAN charger. So by using my Thunderbolt 5 dock, I literally charge the laptop while gaming and running all this stuff because that Thunderbolt 5 dock has a 265 watt AC adapter. So this is what I call the nomadic enthusiast setup, because it's no desktop, it's just a laptop. You got a docking station, and you have maybe 1 or 2 monitors. In my case, I have 3 monitors. So we got quad display. We're running on a Bluetooth ThinkPad mouse, just your typical Bluetooth ThinkPad, basic wireless ThinkPad mouse paired up with the laptop over the Bluetooth 5.4 or whatever it is. And you had to use sudo RPM. Yeah, I didn't have any problems. It was plug and play. MediaTek Wi-Fi 7, the drivers came in. It was just super easy. So, and I didn't even use any custom install from Framework. Their website literally links to Fedora's website, and you just download the ISO from Fedora, and then you just use Rufus to make a bootable. That's all I did, and it works, man. It was easy. I was expecting it to be jump through hoops and all these challenges. No, it was so easy. I was surprised how easy it was to get things working on here. Now, having said that, so that's the good. The good is everything is working. Now, it's not all tinted glasses or whatever they say. So obviously we have a discrete graphics card in here. You can see the power draw. We're pulling 82 watts out of 100 watts. So this GPU allows up to 100 watts of power. You can see the temperature is at 68 degrees Celsius at 82 watts. This is testament to Framework's engineering and design. The Radeon integrated graphics is providing output to not the big monitor, but it is providing output to the laptop display that I have OBS running on right now, and then it also is providing output to the other 2 monitors to the left and the right. So the integrated graphics is doing work. The dedicated graphics is rendering the game, and it is also responsible for encoding the live stream. So we're basically using that because it's closer to metal, less work is being duplicated, so it's easier that way. And then we got lots of RAM. One thing I noticed is Linux is way more efficient than Windows when it comes to system RAM usage. Typically when I stream with this type of setup on Windows, I'm pulling 24 to 28 gigs of system RAM. You guys can see right now we're pulling only 16.7 in use. So that is very, very good. But 96 gigs, man, in a laptop in the sort of era that we're living in with crazy expensive memory, man, it's insane. So I am so glad I did not have to buy memory. Oh man, I don't know. I don't think I would have been able to get this laptop if I had to buy RAM. Let's just put it that way. But anyway, so I carried over this RAM from my other laptop, and that's how we have 96 gigs. MediaTek doesn't have great support in Linux, but it has been good. I haven't had any problems, man. I have not had any problems, but it also depends on what sort of router you have. You have to remember that's not just the MediaTek, it's also the router. It also depends on if you're using a home mesh Wi-Fi setup or if you're running a single router. And things like the distance, the RSSI, there's a lot of things that come into play when we're talking about Wi-Fi related issues. But I've tested two different networks so far. I've tested a Wi-Fi 7 native network that has dual access points. So that's two routers. One router is the primary. The other one is like the secondary that extends the Wi-Fi network. So it's kind of like a Wi-Fi mesh, wireless or not wireless. It's wired backhaul, but it's wireless. 7 Wi-Fi 7. What do they call it? It's not mesh. They're not meshing because we're doing wired backhaul. But wired backhaul is the way to go. Not wireless backhaul. That's terrible. So that's number one. And the other thing, I've tested on a legacy Wi-Fi 5 network with a much older Wi-Fi network, and that one also works with no problem with this Linux laptop with the MediaTek. So I haven't had any problems at all so far. Now, has it been perfect? Absolutely not. There have been a lot of issues with getting certain applications to work properly. So currently, with the latest version of Wayland, there is a bug that I've run into with Steam, specifically with Steam, where if I launch it normally from the desktop, like from the Steam icon, it will log in, and then as soon as it logs in, the GUI, the window for Steam, like with all your game lists and stuff, it literally vanishes and you never get it to show up on the screen. You check the system monitor and Steam is still running in the background, so you know Steam is running. I end the process, I try it again, same behavior. So there's some kind of weird rendering issue with Wayland on the latest kernel with Fedora. This was a problem in Fedora 44, and I thought going to Fedora 45 Preview Edition would fix it, and did not fix it. So the workaround is to launch Steam from the terminal. So you open the terminal, you type Steam, you hit enter, it launches it, and it works perfectly. Now, I don't know why that works and the standard icon launch doesn't work, but the workaround is to go into interface in Steam settings and to disable, where is it? Disable the enable GPU accelerated rendering in web views requires restart. Disabling that fixed the problem for me. So that is some kind of new bug with the newer version of Wayland, and this is the problem with being on the latest version of things. I feel like when you're on the bleeding edge, stuff is likely to break, and then you got to wait for the developer, in this case Steam, Valve or whoever, to fix it. So that's an issue. In Linux, you didn't know the source you installed. No, I did not install the Flatpak. I installed the RPM version of Steam. The RPM version of Steam does this. The Flatpak version of Steam actually does not do this, but it is very slow by comparison, and I don't like the Flatpak version of Linux. So no, this is specifically the RPM version of Steam that has this problem. Just FYI. If you want to go to Fedora 45, beware. Or Fedora 44, because I first ran into the problem on Fedora 44. So that is one thing that I want to point out. And then another thing is, there was another problem. Oh, there's two major problems that I have run into with Fedora, which I am not happy about. One of them, OBS. I understand Fedora, the philosophy behind like the open source, and they don't want like royalty-based, license-based technologies. But what really annoys me about Fedora is there is no way to get H.264 and H.265 HEVC in OBS natively without jumping through all kinds of hoops. I tried to do all the workarounds that I read through on GitHub, on whatever stack, Overstack, like all the different, like Reddit, etc., all these different websites. I spent like maybe 3 to 4 hours trying to get HEVC and AVC. Like, okay, Open H.264, Cisco's Open H.264 is available on Fedora for OBS. That's the one that all the Twitch streamers, for like the 2 people that use Linux to stream on Twitch, because most people on Twitch are normies and they don't know how to use Linux. But for the people that are using H.264, they need H.264 for Twitch. Open H.264 from Cisco is available on OBS with Fedora. but that is like a really old codec from like 2013. So it's not very good in terms of stream quality. Thankfully, AV1 is available, and that is currently what I am using to stream right now. We are streaming to YouTube using the API, I think it's like well, let me look up the name of it real quick so I can tell you guys what I'm using. It's FFmpeg VA API AV1 is what I am currently streaming and locally recording to the laptop for this live stream. Thankfully, AV1 is like a godsend that rescues Fedora from me literally switching to Ubuntu. This one thing almost made me switch back to Ubuntu because for those that don't know, or maybe you did, you saw the video that's on the channel. So I did build a framework desktop. You can see I've got it right here. We are going to be doing content with this desktop in the near future with Linux. So we have Ubuntu LTS 2604 on the Strix Halo framework desktop. This is the Ryzen AI Max 395 Plus. So we got Ubuntu LTS 2604 on here. And let me tell you right now, I ran into one problem with Ubuntu. I ran into like 5 problems with Fedora. And Ubuntu, plug and play. OBS, HEVC works, H.264 works, AV1 works, everything works out of the box. I don't have to waste time reading through forums and watching YouTube tutorials on how to like change libraries and do swaps in the terminal to try to get things to work. And when it was all said and done, none of it actually fixed my problem, and I'm still stuck using AV1 to encode the live stream. So I'm kind of annoyed about that because I don't have a way, like not only can I not use HEVC to stream, I literally can't watch HEVC content on this Fedora laptop because it doesn't do the decode nor does it do the encode. So that's a big problem. So I don't know about that, guys. Like that right there is making me want to go to Ubuntu. Like seriously, that is the reason why when I saw that, I'm like, okay, we're putting Ubuntu on the framework desktop because I did not run into this problem with OBS when I was using Ubuntu LTS 2404 like 2 weeks ago on like a 6-year-old desktop. You know what I'm saying? This was like, whoa. So it's like Fedora, it's like, okay, yeah, you get newer updates quicker, but you're literally like breaking compatibility and removing features from existing applications. The other huge problem that is a big deal breaker from making me like 100% abandon Windows is DaVinci Resolve. For whatever reason, I cannot get DaVinci Resolve working with the latest version of Fedora. It didn't work with Fedora 44. In fact, the reason why I updated to Fedora 45 was because of DaVinci Resolve, and I did the update and it didn't help. So here we are on a preview version, and I still can't do any video editing with DaVinci Resolve on Fedora. So the thing with Ubuntu doesn't have support for DaVinci Resolve at all. DaVinci Resolve is supposed to work on Red Hat-based distros because if you look up DaVinci Resolve support page, they say they support something called Rocky. It's called like Rocky Linux or something, and that's like a Red Hat-based distro, so it should technically work, but it doesn't really work because there's libraries that are all missing. So I broke some of the libraries, and yeah, I don't know how to fix any of it. So that codec issue is not that hard to solve. You just need to run some commands to enable the RPM. I did all of that, dude. I installed RPM Fusion. I did all of that, and when that was all said and done, you reboot the computer, it comes back, and you try to run it, and it still doesn't show them in the OBS. And then I go in and I try to sudo it again, and the command line just tells me it is already installed. No, nothing to do. It's already installed. Nothing to do. And I'm like, okay, well, why does OBS not have the options? Why is it still not working? So no, I've done all that. RPM Fusion's already installed. So because you know what the problem is? They renamed the libraries. lib2 is now like lib264 something, and the extensions are all different in the library. So it's like it's all messed up, man. No, it's a huge mess. I realized as I was doing all of this, Windows ain't going anywhere. These type of things, this is what's going to keep Microsoft and Apple in business. Like, I could see it. They're going to stay in business because it's like this is the experience. Like, someone's got to spend 3+ hours and when it was all said and done, the problem's still there. So I don't know. Well, if you can find them, because I looked through Fedora's site. I looked through a bunch of like programmer websites that linked a bunch of repositories that were referenced, and RPM like Fusion, blah blah blah, all this stuff. There was another app like Fuse. Fuse was also referenced for something. No, all I know is I typed maybe like 120 plus sudo commands, and was all said and done. I ended up on Fedora 45, even though I didn't really want to go to Fedora 45, and it still doesn't work. So all I know is I can't use DaVinci Resolve, and I can't use all the codecs that OBS is supposed to have. Flatpak version OBS didn't fix it. So that's a good question. So this is how I first did it. The first thing I did was I installed the Flatpak version of OBS. And guess what? The Flatpak version of OBS doesn't have all the codecs. So then I'm like, okay, uninstall this. Let's install the RPM version. Install the RPM version. Same exact behavior. It doesn't have all the codecs. So then I have to start Googling it. And then AI starts telling me, you got to do this sudo. Oh, install Fuse. Oh, install RPM Fusion, blah, blah, blah. RPM Fusion, go to RPM Fusion. Okay, RPM Fusion. Let's install RPM Fusion. Okay, restart. Okay, sudo RPM Fusion. Okay, sudo this, sudo that, sudo this, sudo that. RPM Fusion. RPM Fusion's already installed. No work. Okay, RPM Fusion. Man, no, I ran in circles with RPM Fusion today. It was so annoying that I wanted to, like, re-image the whole laptop and just go to Ubuntu. Because after that happened, I went to the framework desktop. I got Rufus. To go and create a Ubuntu 26.4, the latest and greatest LTS Ubuntu. Plug it in here. Install OBS. Install Flatpak. Install OBS Flatpak. Oh, and guess what? Everything's there. It works. I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was click it, install it like Windows, and it's there, and it works perfectly. Oh my goodness, it's that easy. Yes, Linux can be that easy. Isn't it nice when it just works? No, the problem is not OBS. The problem is Fedora. Literally, Fedora is to blame. You know why? Man, and here's the other thing. I don't have Paint. I don't have access to Paint. This would be like a perfect time to bring up Paint and start explaining why Fedora is lacking all these things and why Ubuntu has all these things built in. It's a philosophical difference. Fedora is all about true open source and free software to the public, blah blah blah, minimalist GNOME, this type of philosophy, no royalty fees, no patent fees, whatever, blah, okay, yeah. That's why they don't have it. You know why? Because HEVC, you got to pay Samsung and a bunch of companies royalty fees for that codec. That's the answer. That's the reason why. Ubuntu is way more pragmatic. Like, they're like, okay, yeah, we believe in an open source, open standards based system for software and software development. But at the same time, we recognize that most of the users, frankly, they ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to spend 3 to 5 hours troubleshooting, trying to like bypass the way Fedora did this because of some ideological reason, just so I can like make it work. unless I want to go way, way back to like a super old version of Fedora that still had the libraries. So it's kind of, yeah, it's really weird, man. Like, I wanted to try Fedora, and I actually, if it wasn't for that, I would say Fedora is quite good, but there's a couple things I didn't really like about it. Like, I didn't like that there was no icon bar at the bottom, like on Windows or Mac. I was able to, obviously, yeah, you can customize it. I customized it. But the fact that there's no way to just enable it from the menus, like, that's built in, like, there's nothing that ships with GNOME. You have to install GNOME extensions. You have to go install Dash to Dock and blah, 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 and all these things. Like, the fact that you have to do all of this, it's not, like, in there hidden away or just turned off. Like, I don't know if I like that. Some people like that minimalist thing. I don't like that minimalist approach. I personally, after using Fedora, I actually like Ubuntu more than I did previously. I've come to enjoy Ubuntu more. More. You should have downloaded KDE. No, I'm not going KDE because Framework doesn't... Framework said that KDE has some known issues with some of the driver sets. Like, there's some weird interactions. Like, for example, something with the UI. It's like, there's something that I forgot, I can't explain it. But, like, USB 4 peripheral docks and things like that suspend to sleep. Or, what is it? Suspend to RAM. Which is basically sleep mode and wake from sleep with certain docks and things. KDE has some kind of issues. Let's just put it that way. So they recommended GNOME. GNOME is the one that they actually support officially. And yeah, like in terms of the laptop, the hardware, everything just working out of the box, installing Fedora GNOME, yeah, everything works. The fingerprint reader works. A USB 4 docking station works. Thunderbolt 5 docking station is backwards compatible. Plug and play, like Xbox controller, you know, Bluetooth works, Wi-Fi 7 works. I don't have to go and mess with all that stuff. So I like that. I like that, but it's like I can't edit videos. I don't get access to DaVinci Resolve. It doesn't work. It doesn't install. And OBS restricts me to AV1. Like, all I can use is AV1, which is okay. I mean, I can live with that. Thankfully, we're far enough. I'm jumping into this far enough in time that AV1 is available as an option, because if this was like a few years ago, AV1 was not where it is today. So basically, I would be stuck using Cisco's ancient, like, H.264, like the open H.264. That would be like the only option. Or like CPU encoding. CPU X264. Yeah. X264. Yeah, let's stream like we're in 2013. Yeah, that's totally advanced. That's totally bleeding edge. I really like this laptop though. I know that was a huge rant, but I really like the laptop. The fact that if I don't want the numpad, if I need the numpad one day and I want the laptop to look symmetrical the next day, I have the freedom to customize it. I like the screen. I feel like the people at Framework that designed this laptop, they designed it, they did the research. They're appealing to people like me, power users, people who do not want OLED screens on laptops because I want better battery life. I also don't want PWM flickering when I run the laptop at 0% brightness for maximum battery. Those are all problems that you get with OLED. This is why I will never buy a laptop with OLED until they fix PWM flickering. Because I typically run my laptop at 0% brightness. So it sounds kind of weird to certain people, but that's how you maximize brightness. Unless you're in like a really bright environment where you have to turn the brightness up. So, IPS screen. 2560 by 1600p matte screen. It has to be a matte screen. It has to be an IPS screen. It has to be a high refresh screen with the option to run at 60 Hertz for better battery life. So it has all of those things. So Framework is literally like checking off all the boxes in the job interview to get the job. You know what I'm saying? Fingerprint reader, that is a must-have. It must have a fingerprint reader, and the fingerprint reader works on Linux. Wow, how many laptops out there have fingerprint readers that actually work on Linux? Even with suspend to RAM. So like sleep and wake it up, sleep and wake it up. And the last time I tested Linux on like an old ThinkPad, you put the laptop to sleep, you wake it up, the fingerprint reader doesn't work when you wake it from sleep. Now you reboot the laptop and then the fingerprint reader works, but it's very easy to break the laptop driver on those other laptops that don't have official support. So this is really nice. So this is a very nice experience. Upgradable graphics card. So the fact that we can start with a Radeon 7700X and we can literally remove the graphics card and put empty expansion bay to make the laptop lose like 0.4 kilograms, or not kilograms, grams. So yeah, 0.4 kilograms, because it's 2.4 kilograms with the GPU. It's like 2.0 kilograms or 2.1 without the GPU. So if you want it to become a lighter laptop on the go, you can take the GPU out. And on top of that, you can literally upgrade the GPU. They do offer, as of late last year, you can get a 5070 laptop GPU with this laptop. Now, I wasn't going to pay the NVIDIA tax for a GPU that's not even that much more powerful than the 7700S, especially since we're running on Linux. The whole purpose of me testing all this out is for Linux. So that's why I went with the 7700S, because it's way cheaper, and you're not really gaining anything by going to NVIDIA unless you're on Windows and you're going to use like CUDA stuff, or you're just going to use NVIDIA for like gaming, I guess. But I don't know if that's really worth upgrading to on a modular laptop when you could just get this and then just get 60 series or whatever the new one is next year. Because I have a hunch that like next year they're going to release a big upgrade to this laptop. Because this laptop gets its upgrades like every 2-ish years. So last year was the second generation, which included the 5070. So I basically have the second generation minus the 5070. So that's basically what I'm using. But I think this year they're going to carry this over as is, and then next year they're going to upgrade to the third generation of the 16. Which it's really nice because it's like I don't have to buy another laptop. I can just, if I want to swap the GPU with an RDNA 5 or an NVIDIA RTX 60 series, assuming either one of those things will end up in this laptop, I have the option to do that. So I think that's really nice. And then on top of that, it has my favorite APU of all time, the Radeon AI 9 HX370 with the very impressive Radeon 890M graphics. This laptop has very good battery life. Unfortunately, Linux, to my knowledge, Linux doesn't have the ability to do hibernate. And I'm a little bit bummed out about that because for me, battery life on Windows was never a problem because the way I set up my Windows laptops is they go to sleep after like 20 minutes, 15 or 20 minutes of being idle. So they go to sleep, and actually no, it's 10 minutes. Yeah, they go to sleep after like 10 minutes of no activity. And then there's a timer in the registry, in the power management, where after, I think it's 60 minutes, I forget if I put it at 60 minutes or 90 minutes, either or, it'll go from sleep to hibernate. Once it's in hibernate, the battery basically drains so slowly that you could literally leave the laptop in hibernate for like 3 to 4 weeks and the battery would still have charge. So I'm not concerned about Windows like standby battery life. Unfortunately, Linux doesn't have hibernate to my knowledge. So you're stuck with sleep mode. So the standby battery life because of sleep on here is not going to be able to match Linux or match Windows if the Windows laptop is using hibernate. And then of course Apple with the ARM chips are just going to be straight up better with battery life regardless. But this laptop has a really chunky 85 watt hour battery that is easily replaceable. And then the Radeon AI HX370, this is very, very efficient. This is like one of the best APUs. So very, very good stuff. I really, really like the laptop. Let's see, video. You got both the laptop and the PC. Yes. So the laptop. So the video for the laptop is gonna go up on the channel tomorrow. So, but I decided I'm gonna test the laptop because the laptop seems to be the more interesting thing because it has upgradable, removable discrete graphics. It has USB 4. Now, obviously, the Framework desktop also has USB 4, but the laptop is more likely to benefit from USB 4 from a practical standpoint because with USB 4, I'm running quad displays with a laptop. I've got literally 3 monitors plus the laptop screen, so I've got a total of 4 displays, and I'm using a Thunderbolt 5 docking station that has 180 watt power delivery. So I'm literally charging the laptop off of the Thunderbolt docking station, and everything just works. I like that everything works. I don't have to go look for drivers. I don't have to waste time doing sudo commands. I just plug it in, and it works. Why? Because Framework worked directly with Fedora to make sure that the dependencies and libraries for these hardware devices that exist in the laptop, things such as the webcam, the Wi-Fi 7 card, the Bluetooth card, the fingerprint reader, the discrete graphics card, the integrated graphics card. Well, okay, some of these things are all like the Mesa driver from Linux, from the kernel, so that's whatever. But you get what I'm saying? Like, they actually validated it, they tested it. Red Hat, or whoever the Fedora team that does the Fedora testing and verification on their side, they use the framework in their labs. So it is really a first class experience for Linux, for someone who wants to use Linux and is not necessarily that experienced with Linux and doesn't want to have a lot of like if it will it work, or if it'll work, or what do I have to do to get it to work. So that's the nice thing about it. Really, really good. So hold on, how do we, okay. Oh, this is over here. This is supposed to be behind this thing. I think the chat was like being covered up by the task manager thing the whole time. I just now noticed that. Usually driver support is upstream to kernel. Did Framework sponsor this? Framework did not sponsor this. This is not sponsored. Am I going to keep the Lenovo laptop? Yeah, I'm going to keep. I have to keep the Lenovo laptop because the Lenovo laptop is my work laptop. The Lenovo laptop. So okay, here's the crazy story, guys. Like, remember how I was saying I'm going to install Linux on the laptop? So apparently, it's like I can install Linux on the laptop, but my company, so they basically told me if you want to run Linux on your work laptop, you have to run a specific distro that comes from them, and it's packaged with their own stuff, and that's the only way you can, like, that's the only way it'll be allowed to work. And guess what that distro is? Guess what distro is the only distro that they allow? Let's see if you guys can guess. Hold on. Well, we won't make it a poll. It's just guess what distro is, like, so basically if I was going to install Linux on my Lenovo laptop, what is the distro that is allowed? There's only one answer. There's only one correct answer. Ubuntu. Correct. Ubuntu. Ubuntu, guys. It's so easy. Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Nothing else is allowed. They're like, you can install Ubuntu or you're staying on Windows. So then I was like, I don't know if I want to install Ubuntu on this because it's like I already installed Ubuntu on my old desktop, and it works. And it's like I kind of wanted to try a different distro, so I'm like, whatever. All right, just leave it on Windows. Windows. So that's why I was like, okay, whatever. So we got to go a different way then. And so I looked into HP. HP does not have a very good track record of supporting Linux. I mean, at a certain point in their history, they did. I want to say like from like 2010 or 2009, from like 2009 to like 2014, there was a period where HP was actually quite good with Linux, supposedly. But then they're not so good anymore. So I know Lenovo was pretty good. Lenovo was fairly good, but the more I looked into Lenovo, the more I found out that Lenovo really only supports Ubuntu. And that's probably the reason why I was told that if you want to install Ubuntu, you have to use, or if you want to install Linux, you have to go Ubuntu. You're like not allowed to install like whatever. It's like you can't install Cache OS. You can't install. You basically they're like if you install any form of Arch, you're immediately gonna be put on a pip. And I'm like, okay, fine. Okay, calm down, man. I'm not gonna install Arch. Okay, fine. We're not gonna go Arch. Fine. They're like, you better not install Arch. It's like, okay, fine. We won't install Arch. So, Arch was out. That being said, I did try to put Cache OS on the Framework desktop last night. So, because the video that's on the channel right now, I filmed that video yesterday. So I was playing around with Cache OS on the Framework desktop, and it was pretty cool. You know, like I was like, man, okay, Cache OS seems pretty good. Like it has a lot of there's a lot of menu items that are easy to view. You don't have to go hunting for things with a bunch of click buttons. It's like all kind of there. The only problem with Cache OS, at least the default UI skin that was in the test drive USB thing, the Rufus thing, it to me, Cache OS looked kind of like, it looked like some kind of like PSP homebrew, if that makes sense. It looks so like not official. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the best example I could give you guys is like people who do custom firmware on PS3 back in the day. They mod their PS3 and they make it look like, they trick it out, make it look like some kind of like Honda Ricer or whatever. I'm like, man, Cache OS looks way too like, it looks way too aftermarket for my taste. You know, it's like, yeah, I could probably change a lot of this, but I don't know, man. This looks, and it's like, everyone was telling me you gotta go Arch, and I'm thinking like, why? And they're like, oh, because Steam. And I'm like, okay, but I don't want a handheld. If I'm gonna use a laptop, if I'm gonna use it as a computer, I don't want a handheld gaming device. So they're like, okay, they get Cache OS. Go Cache OS. Is it Cache OS or is it Cache OS? So like, go Cache OS. So I go Cache OS, and then I'm thinking like, man, this thing looks like somebody's homebrew from like a PSP from 2013. I'm out. Get this out of here. Shut this down. Take that USB thumb drive out. Take this USB thumb drive out. Throw it away. And go. No. We're going Fedora, or we're going like somewhere else. Like, nah. So unfortunately, Cache OS was out. I didn't even try Suzy. I don't even know, man. All the Slack. What is it? Slack Stack or Stackware? What is Slackware? All those distros, the Suzy distros, I don't know. Those look too antiquated. They don't look modern. It's funny because it's like the Cache OS looks way too like tricked out, custom. It's like I'm thinking like this is not appealing to me, guys. I'm sorry, but this it's like, nothing against the people who use Cache OS. It looked really nice. Like in terms of the functionality, a lot of stuff was there, which is hilarious because Arch has like nothing. Arch has literally Nothing. There's you and there's a terminal, and that's Arch. Whereas CachyOS has like all these menus and things, and oh, I can see the serial number of the framework desktop like in CachyOS without having to go and do sudo commands to go find it. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. Suzy used to be big back in the day. Now I feel like, yeah, I remember when people kept telling me like, you gotta learn Linux. You gotta learn Linux if you want to have that type of job that you don't have to worry about getting removed if the company has to do like a layoff or whatever. People used to tell me all the time. They're like, you gotta learn Suzy Linux or Red Hat Linux. Like back in the day, that's what everyone told me. You gotta get Red Hat certified or Suzy certified. And I'm thinking like, why? So I can type sudo commands all day? And they're like, yeah, man. Like, why not? Sudo, man. Sudo for life. I'm like, what if I want to sudo apt? And they're like, is there even a certification for that? And then we both kind of just didn't know what else to say after that. I don't know. Only the Linux diehards will understand that reference. You like CachyOS the most. You can install and switch it between different environments. Yeah, that's because Cachy's based on Arch, and Arch is literally like the most flexible like Linux I've ever seen. But the problem is you really need to know what you're doing because you can like mess up so many things with libraries. You could swapping so many dependencies and moving libraries. It's weird because it's like you think, oh, you just flat pack everything. Just flat pack it. Don't worry about flat pack it. Okay, so you have like 20 flat packs, and then it's like, what if there's one that's like cross-referencing the same name, but the pointers are different under the hood, and they get broken in the registry somehow. Like I don't even know what if registry is even a concept with Linux, but yeah, we haven't even pressed start. The game, yeah. Wait, did this happen last time? Didn't we do the same thing with Pragmata on a previous I feel like we did this with Pragmata another time. This is the one game, man. This is the game that always ends up getting the short straw, where it's like it never gets any airtime. All it is like me talking about, what did we do last time we tried to play Pragmata? We talked about like monitors and computers or something for like 3 hours, and then the stream ended. Or then I played like Fatal Frame for like 30 minutes and the stream ended. Yeah, flat packs are good. Flat packs just don't perform as well as like the native like RPM or what does Arch use? Arch is its own thing. It doesn't use RPM or deb. Like deb files, like the .deb. Oh, that was the other thing too. Like, oh, okay, that was there is a problem with Ubuntu, guys. Like Ubuntu, man, I wish I had Paint. How come Fedora? See, this is the problem. Fedora doesn't have anything like Paint. Hold on, maybe this? Paint? Fill the board. Paint? A sweet painting tool? Does that work? Okay, hold on, maybe this. Flatpak. Install that Flatpak. Paint. Potentially unsafe. Using a legacy windowing system. Uh-oh, wait, does that mean it's not gonna work? Because this is not Wayland? Guys, this is what I'm talking about. When you're on the bleeding edge, so many apps just straight up don't work. I'm trying to open Paint right now. I installed it with a flat hub. Oh wait, hold on. Okay. This is... Why is it like that? How do I... Dude. It covered up the game. I can't even... I double click on the bar and it doesn't move. Alright, well that doesn't work. I don't want it on that monitor. I can't drag and move it to the other monitor. It's like as soon as I open it, it like opens it up on the 4K monitor and covers up the game. AMD works better, man. Linux, like I purposely avoided getting the 5070. First of all, I didn't want to pay $350 extra for a 5070, and for just 8 gigs because it has the same amount of RAM as what's with the 7700S. Second of all, the NVIDIA, I mean NVIDIA works. It's not like it doesn't work, but you have to install the proprietary driver, and the instructions are different depending on your distro and all this stuff. And then like certain apps, because I was reading through the DaVinci Resolve forums to figure out like why can't it work on Fedora, and people were like, yeah, it worked at one point on Fedora 41, it was working, and then it broke in Fedora 42, and then it got like kind of fixed, but there were like bugs where certain things like sound was muffled or sound wasn't working, or because the sound libraries were changed in Fedora. So all like kernel changes screwed it up, and they were talking about like the NVIDIA drivers got screwed up by Fedora 42, and Fedora 43 never fixed them, and you know, like for DaVinci Resolve. So it's kind of a mixed bag with NVIDIA on Linux. If you're just playing games with Steam, like as long as you can get the NVIDIA drivers to install, I think you're fine. The problem is when you're trying to use like certain productivity apps. That's the big problem with NVIDIA. Because I mean, it can work. It can work, but it's like if you want to use NVIDIA, what I've learned, if you want to use NVIDIA on Linux, and you have to use a specific app, like for example, DaVinci Resolve. So if I want to use DaVinci Resolve with NVIDIA because I want CUDA acceleration, then I'm forced to install, I basically have to install a supported distro that DaVinci Resolve actually validated to work. And that means I gotta use Rocky Linux or whatever the older one used to be called. And I don't want to install Rocky Linux. Like, why do I gotta go to a specific distro that I have no interest in using just for DaVinci Resolve? Just so I can install NVIDIA. See, like that is it shoehorns you in to like a specific subset of limitations that are imposed upon you for it to work out of the box, to the point where it's like, okay, this is not for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think it's Rocky Linux. Yeah, this paint thing is not working. See, that's the other thing too. Like, I install these legacy apps, and then I just sudo it, and it looks like it installed, and then when I click open from the flat hub thing, it doesn't actually open. So that's like another big problem I've found with using the latest kernel. Like, old apps are just straight up broken. Hold on, DaVinci Resolve supported Linux distro. Yeah, I can't get Paint to work on here, guys. I'm gonna have to search for that. I mean, okay, so what does it say here? I was reading about it earlier. Because it gives you a .run file. You install it with a .run file. And that I'll tell you right now, that does not work. It does not work out of the box with Fedora. You got to use command line, and then you got to go mess with all the libraries, and then it warns you that it's like, oh, there's like this app is using this dependency and blah blah blah. It's like this is dependent on this. And it's like if you do that, you have to uninstall this. So I'm like, yeah, this is too much. Well, anyway, I kind of want to look at how this laptop plays these games. I don't want to spend too much time here. Let's just play this so it doesn't become a meme where it's like I literally talked for 2 hours and never played the game. So let's see what we got in here. 1440p, maximum 120 FPS, FSR 3, high quality, blah blah blah. Okay, let's do this. Oh, I need to fix the overlay. Make this larger. Do this, I guess.
I love it when we can bring stuff.
Make this like way larger. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, by the way, the only issue that I ran. Well, okay, there's two problems I ran into with Ubuntu LTS 2604. First of all, Ubuntu 26.04 is Wayland. And it is only Wayland. There is no more X11 on the latest version of Ubuntu. The Ubuntu kernel is also 7.0. So the latest Ubuntu actually ships with a newer kernel than what ships out of the box with Fedora 44. So Ubuntu technically has a newer kernel than Fedora 44. Unless you go to like Fedora 45 preview. So Ubuntu is technically like it's caught up. It's basically caught up. And then on top of that, you get full fat OBS support. Like OBS, everything works perfectly. And it's really making me want to go back to Ubuntu for that reason alone. Now, there's two problems that I ran into. Number one, there is a bug with the Debian installation of Steam. Valve is aware of this, and they may have already fixed it. But there's a bug with the Debian. If you install the Deb version of Steam, which is the recommended way to install Steam on Ubuntu, so Steam boots up, you can see the window opens, everything's fine. The problem is you go to click on the top menu bar. So Steam, View, Friends, Games, Help, that top menu screen. None of those buttons work because there's some kind of Wayland. There's an invisible Wayland rendering of the application title bar window that would normally be above it. But you know how Steam does this weird thing where it doesn't actually show that bar. It uses its own UI. You know what I'm talking about? Like the bar at the top of a Linux app that has on Ubuntu, you've got your X, your maximize, your minimize, the title of the app. That thing, that bar is there in Wayland on Steam, but it is invisible, and it is covering up the top menu bar in Steam. This is a known issue with the latest version of Ubuntu, specifically with the Debian version of Steam. If you install the Flatpak version of Steam on Ubuntu, you will not experience this problem. So that is kind of a workaround. The other workaround is to do some kind of weird thing where you press like, I think it's Alt F7, or maybe it's the super button F7, and then it's like you can move it. But I tried doing that and it didn't work for me. So what I ended up doing was, I think I installed Flatpak. But I remember I tested it earlier today with the Debian install from the actual app store, not the browser, and after installing the Debian Steam on Ubuntu, it works. So I no longer see the problem. So maybe Valve already patched it. Who knows? But there was an Ubuntu update that I did this morning, and so far it seems like it works. So I think it's already been resolved. That's like the one issue that I ran into with Ubuntu, though. The big problem that I personally have run into is the fact that I cannot use DaVinci Resolve on Ubuntu because it does not support Debian distros.
You busy?
It supports Red Hat distros. Well, it actually only supports like Rocky Linux, and there's like some legacy version of Rocky Linux, and those are the only ones that it supports. Anyway, we can see here the game is running okay on a 7700S. You can see GPU is at 100%, 66 degrees. That's a very good temperature for a GPU. Yeah, that's very good temps. We're at about 7 gigs of VRAM out of 8 gigs of VRAM. System RAM is at 18 gigs out of 96 gigs. I'm actually impressed with Linux in terms of how much less RAM it uses compared to Windows. Like Windows, I'd be up at like 26 to like 29 gigs of system RAM right now. Alright, I don't know, like, well, let's, this is running good. This is running quite good. Look at this. So I would say Fedora is probably marginally better than Ubuntu. I think Kashi OS is going to beat both of them in gaming. I saw the Phoronix benchmarks, but realistically, like, I think Kashi was 4 or 6% faster than Fedora, and and it was about 7 to 10% faster than Ubuntu. So to me, I don't think that's worth switching to CachyOS. If I have to give up things like OBS and stuff like that on Ubuntu. Stamps. Jukebox.
Please come and see us again.
Okay. Does that Steam issue happen if you run it on X-Wayland? I don't even know what X-Wayland is. You mean X11? X11, no. But the problem is LTS 2604 doesn't have access to X11. There's no X11 as far as I know. It's an issue with Debian distros, though, on the latest kernel. So it's like, if you're on a Red Hat version of Linux or Arch, it doesn't apply. Alright, I'm going to take a poll, see who uses what version of Linux do you guys use. Let's see. Because I want to know what everyone's using. Because I have frameworks data. I want to know what my audience uses for Linux. So, which Linux distro do you use? And I know there's way too many, so I'm going to go by core. So, the choices are going to be Debian, was it Slackware? Debian, Slackware, Red Hat, and Arch. And if you know your distribution, you should know which family it falls under, because all the Linux distros will link back to one of these 4 distros. These are the 4 original core distros. Starting with Slackware, followed by Debian, then Red Hat, and finally Arch in 2004. Arch is the youngest, Slackware is the oldest. Man. Look at that Red Hat. Look at that. Look at those fedoras. Where's my Ubuntu people at? We got some CachyOS in here. I assume Cachy. I don't know. I mean, it could be some other. I mean, is Mint also Debian? Is Mint Debian? I always forget which one Mint is. Is Pop! OS is Arch, right? Like, Arch has all the new ones. That's all I know. Like, all the Steam ones are Arch. Pop! OS... Well, except... Okay, Bazite is kind of, like, Steam-ish. Bazite is Red Hat based. But, CachyOS and SteamOS and all those other ones are Arch based. Man, nobody supports Slackware. What? No one? How come there was someone mentioning SUSE earlier? Someone mentioned SUSE. SUSE Linux is Slackware. That's the OG. That is the OOG. A lot of people say Debian's the OG. Man, nah. Slackware's the OG. This would be like a perfect exam question on like a Red Hat certification test. Which of the following root distros is the original distro? The correct answer is not Red Hat. That's the funny thing about it. That's a great certification exam question. Wow, 50% on the Red Hat distros, man. Wow. I know a lot of the people in my Discord channel use Red Hat distros. There's a lot, because Bazite, Nobara, obviously Fedora itself, you know, these are all Red Hat distros. I mean, heck, we're streaming on a Red Hat distro right now. This is Fedora 45 Preview Edition. Oh man, Arch is coming up. Arch tied with Red Hat. What's going on here? I really like that this laptop... You know what I like about this laptop? The fact that I can literally charge the laptop off of my docking station while also playing a game and doing all this stuff. I can't do that with any other laptop that has a discrete graphics card in the laptop. Now, if the laptop doesn't have discrete graphics, then yeah, of course, because it doesn't pull that much power. But man, we are pulling 95 watts. 95 watts off of the GPU. No, 79 watts and 90, is that right? 95 watts? So this is probably the APU. Yeah, that's the APU. So the APU is pulling 95 and then 80 off the GPU. Yeah, so that makes sense. That's kind of almost at the limit. Yeah, the laptop is almost at the limit of what the USB-C cable can deliver over the Thunderbolt 5 docking station. The Thunderbolt 5 docking station can deliver up to 180 watts of power over that USB-C cable. This is enthusiast class mobile technology. Thunderbolt 5 dock, backwards compatible USB 4 version 1, USB-C power delivery up to 180 watts. The laptop itself has a 240 watt USB-C charger. That's crazy. I didn't even know things like that existed. Oh, X Wayland runs an embedded X session in Wayland. Is that something that you can do on Ubuntu? I wasn't even aware you could run it in Wayland. It's funny because my experience with Linux with an old kernel, like a 2-year-old or maybe 3-year-old kernel, well, actually 2-year-old kernel, because 2 weeks ago I was testing Ubuntu LTS 2404 on an old computer from like 5 years ago. Is it 6 years ago? 2019. 2018. Well, the GPU was 2020, but 2018. Yeah. That's actually an 8-year-old computer. Yeah, 8-year-old computer. I was running Ubuntu LTS 2404 on an 8-year-old computer, and I had 0 problems. 0 problems. Everything worked, and I'm thinking like, man, after going from like old computer running Linux to like a kind of oldish Linux, like LTS 2404 Ubuntu, like, I mean, it's kind of old, but it's not like super old. Like, it's definitely still usable. So like going from that to like modern hardware, like what we're using right now, you know, mobile platforms that are super powerful. It's like, man, I don't know. Like, sometimes it's hit or miss with the newer stuff, because when the updates break stuff, like DaVinci Resolve is completely broken on everything except Rocky Linux right now. Steam was broken on Debian for like a week. It might still be broken for some people. I don't know. It's not broken for me anymore, at least not right now. And the Steam rendering bug with Wayland on Fedora 44 that I ran into. I don't know if you run NVIDIA's proprietary driver, you might not run into that problem, although I'm not sure if that even matters, because it seems like it's more like a Wayland thing than an actual Mesa versus like a GPU driver thing. I don't know. So it's weird. There's like so many things to keep track of when it comes to like choosing the distro, and then on top of that, like having to manage all the different applications to make sure they all work. But see, this is the thing. Like that right there is the reason why people are not gonna leave Windows or Mac anytime soon. Because it's funny, because it's like last year people were saying, oh, it's the year of the Linux desktop, and then this year it's the year of the Linux laptop because of the Framework Pro 13. But it's like, I don't know, is it really the year of the laptop? I don't know, man. But it seems like it's working for me, so I guess. I mean, we're able to play a game at 1440p native resolution. Well, actually, I don't know. This is not exactly native. Almost native 1440p. There is some level of upscale on here. Where is it? Yeah, we are upscaling a little bit. But, I mean, it looks good. It runs good on a laptop, on Linux, Proton. So, Valve, man, Valve has done an amazing job. Incredible job. Alright, let's try a different game. I don't want to spend the whole time playing this, and we've been live for over an hour, so let's try another game. Okay. Alright, let's start up. Let's try Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly. I feel like I'm going in the reverse order. Vulkan shaders. Here we go. Vulkan shaders. Oh wait. That was quick. That was quick. Okay, never mind. That was really fast. Yeah, that was real fast. Shader compile. Here we go. Some anti-cheat works. Not all anti-cheat works. I got banned 2 weeks ago from Elden Ring Night Rain because the easy anti-cheat on Night Rain didn't work. I think it was because I was using Proton hotfix. Or I wasn't sure. I mean, I got banned, so I wasn't able to... It's like, okay, well, can't exactly figure out what the problem was, but okay. I chalked it up to, like, Proton, and their easy anti-cheat just doesn't like it. So, no, it depends, because, like, Monster Hunter worked, Night Rain did not work. I don't think Lords of the Fallen's anti-cheat worked. It seemed like it worked because it let me in the game, but as soon as I tried to connect to a multiplayer session, it disconnected me from the server. So it's like, I think there's... No, I don't think... I wouldn't say all the easy anti-cheat works. No, that is definitely hit or miss. I'm like 2 for 1. Like 2 times for me it didn't work, and 1 game it did work. So to me it's like 2/3 of it probably doesn't work. But it depends on what type of games you play. If you play a lot of like popular games, those probably work because the developer probably goes the extra mile just because they have the player base and the resources to do so. But if you play a lot of these niche games that have multiplayer, like, or asynchronous multiplayer, like Night Rain, for example, these Japanese studios don't expect Japanese developers to care about Linux, man. Like Square Enix, Final Fantasy XIV doesn't have support for Linux. Not officially. There are ways to get it to work, I've heard, using Steam, but it's not... It's hit or miss. Alright, so Debian... So it looks like Red Hat wins at 50%. It's in the poll. Red Hat won. Arch was second. So basically, Fedora and all those other ones are like similar to Nobara, whatever, like those guys. Bazite, that all falls into that 49%. And then Arch, we got 38%. That's like Kashi, Pop OS, you know, Arch, those guys. Debian, this is basically the 13% of the Ubuntu people. I don't know who else is... I don't know what other distro besides Ubuntu people on Debian distros are using. Maybe Mint? Is Mint Debian based? Maybe someone's using Mint. And then no one voted for SUSE Linux, so... Alright, so let's look at this game. Okay, the controller works fine. We need to fix the settings. I don't know why this game likes to default to 30 FPS. Just make it easy. Just do that. Let's go. Mint is Ubuntu based, so also, yeah. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Oh man, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. What do I need to do in here? We have to go to the Osaka house? We don't... Oh, guys, is my audio peaking? I don't want my audio to be peaking. Like on the microphone? Maybe that's better. I don't want to be, like, blaringly loud. Because I was really loud on the Linux live stream last time, and I did not know that my microphone was... The gain was set too high. Maybe that's better. Okay, it doesn't seem like it's going up. Alright. We'll put the game to this level and see if that's better. Okay. Okay. I want to get rid of this film grain on the screen. I don't like it. Turn off this film grain. Turn off the motion blur. I don't like any of the motion blur in this game. Okay, that's better. Ooh, that got really creepy dark. I can barely see. Turn that flashlight on. Alright, we're getting, okay, 60 FPS. When it was auto-focusing, it was like 58. Alright, let's go this way, I guess. Oh, I don't know. I heard a weird sound. I don't like this. What was that? Oh. Herbal medicine. What? Prayer beat? Wait, what? That was just randomly there? Wait, what? Oh, not enough to upgrade. Okay, hold on. Save, save. I don't want to... I don't know. But everybody's been saying for the last 2 years, this is the year of the Linux. The year of the Linux PC. Everybody needs to go to Linux. Everyone needs to go to Linux. And they keep citing the fact that computer hardware is getting so expensive that it's becoming less and less affordable. And basically, what people don't realize is, like, if the AI bubble bursts, you think that means that things are just going to immediately go back to normal. That's actually not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is NVIDIA is going to start evangelizing the same companies that bought up all their GPUs for AI to convert to selling cloud-hosted gaming services, basically cloud streaming. They want all the gamers to basically pay for subscription for gaming. So and it's like, if hardware becomes so expensive, like, think about how expensive RAM is right now. Like I said earlier, if I had to buy RAM for the laptop, I would not have even gotten the laptop. Like, legit, I would have not gotten this laptop because I'm not paying for the RAM at the price that it's at. Thankfully, I didn't have to buy RAM, so it's like... Hold on, I need to check something. How much... 58 shots of this one, so we got 24, 48. I don't understand why we can't hold that much type 61. I mean, it isn't even the best film in the game. Like, why are we limited? Just strange design choices. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Hold on, hold on. I don't know. Can it pass the Monster Hunter? Oh, we're gonna do that. Yeah, we're gonna do that soon. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Hold on. We're gonna test Fedora and see if it can handle Monster Hunt. Uh-oh. Okay, hold on, hold on. No, get out of the way. Ubuntu, get out of the way. Ubuntu? Ubuntu? Is that you? Ubuntu? Ubuntu? Why is it flickering like that? I don't like it when the flashlight does that. Look, it's doing the Ubuntu thing. Is that a Wayland bug or is that an actual ghost? Like, I can't tell sometimes with Linux, man. Is it a ghost or is it a Wayland? What the? That ain't Wayland. That's a decapitated That's a decapitated X11. Let's get out of here. Go over here. I'm going upstairs. I'm out of here. Whoa, what the? Hold on. Why is there a... Was that there before?
Mia, could it be in this house?
In this house? What? I don't know, man. Look at this flickering nonsense. Something is around. So I know something's around. I can tell. Something's wrong. And I don't think it's Wayland or the kernel. There's something else. It's like a supernatural thing. It's not even a technology thing. Uh-oh. 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 You gotta use the KDE filter to get it. What? KDE. Look at that. No license key required. Do you see that?
Box.
No. I don't like this box. This is not good. This is not good. Guys? Hold on. Wait, that was the Osaka Crest? Oh, do you see it? Oh man, that's Debian. That's Debian. Debian's like, you didn't vote for me. Whoa! Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't vote for you. I'm sorry. I don't care. What? Debian. Whoa! Oh man, Debian's mad now. I kept saying Ubuntu. Oh man! Whoa! Solar flare. Whoa. Hold on. What the? She's gonna go red soon. She's gonna go red hat. She's gonna turn into a red hat. What the? What? Oh no, what? What? Oh, what? This is too... Uh-oh, hold on. Man, that barely did any damage. I can't even... What the... Did that even count? going after the sister. Get owned. No more Debian.
One more.
Okay. Alright, heal up. Get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, get out of here. If you really want to start Linux Flame War, say good things about System D. What? Well, let's go this way. Oh, I don't know, man. This house is kind of. All right, we're gonna switch games. I just gotta get to the save point. What's this? Oh, type 90? You know the weird thing? There's still like one ghost that I have not seen yet at all in this game. And I thought they'd be over here. If cloud gaming takes over, could that not make Linux the go-to platform for game devs since all servers run Linux? Keyword, servers run Linux. Just because the server runs Linux doesn't mean that the console or the client needs to run Linux. I've had people tell me that they only run Linux on servers and they never use it for anything else. Because it's just not like... And I guess it's because they're talking about it from like how they remember using it in the past. But I feel like Linux is far more usable for even the average user. Although I don't know if I was gonna recommend, like if someone was gonna ask me, if someone who is not really like a tech enthusiast or they just want to play game, well, I mean, even if they just if they want to do more than just play games, but they are willing to try Linux, I really see the appeal of Ubuntu. Honestly, after testing all this stuff, like this old hardware, new hardware, after making all these different tweaks to Fedora to get things to work, there is always the nice thing about things being simple sometimes, and that's why I feel like Ubuntu does appeal to the masses. And I feel like if there's one Linux distro to recommend to beginners, it would have to be Ubuntu. I wouldn't recommend anything else. Not even Fedora. Because Fedora feels too unfamiliar to people who have not done things like with the Unix or the... not even Unix, like the workflow setup that ships with Fedora, like the basic GNOME setup. It just won't appeal to like the masses. It's missing too many things that people who are on Apple or Windows are just, or even on Android, are way too accustomed to. Unless they're using Fedora with like a tablet, but I don't know who would do that. You know what I'm saying? Alright, we're gonna try, I don't know why this is, why is that like taking so long? It's taking a long time to update to Steam Cloud. Alright, we're launching the next game. It says launching. Okay, synchronizing cloud. Why is this one not? It's still uploading to Steam Cloud. Synchronizing cloud. Maybe, I don't know, because Ubuntu, it's not like you can't customize Ubuntu. Ubuntu just has so many things that are just right there that you don't have to go and find. Yeah, something is wrong with this. Like, Fatal Frame is not synchronizing to the cloud. It's preventing Monster Hunter from starting. Oh, there we go. Finally. Okay, finally. This game features native. Okay. Wow. Monster Hunter Wilds features native Linux support, supposedly. Oh, no, it didn't say Linux. It said native Steam. I think it's because it's referring to, like, Steam OS. Look at that. Full tilt, and it's only at 84 Celsius on the CPU, and the CPU's maxed at 99% load. All 24 threads. The magic of the Ryzen AI 9 HX370. This is why this is currently my favorite CPU of all CPUs. I like this more than Panther Lake. I like this more than Strix Halo. I like this more than the Ryzen, like the X3D stuff. This thing gets insane battery life. You can pair it up with discrete graphics cards. It's basically the best. In my opinion, this is the best gaming laptop CPU. Like, the best CPU for gaming is this CPU. The Ryzen AI 9 HX370. 12 core, 24 threads. It ships with very powerful integrated graphics. So even if you have the discrete GPU, like I have this, or if it's an NVIDIA one, you still get the 890M, which is really good integrated graphics, above average integrated graphics. You can still game at like 1080p medium in a lot of games. Not like ray tracing style graphics or anything like that, but the fact that it still has the ability to do that without having to use the discrete GPU is very impressive. And it doesn't thermal throttle the whole system because it's so much more efficient than a lot of those actual, like, the big 45, 55 watt CPUs. And who needs a 55 watt TDP CPU in a laptop? Because all it's going to do is kill the battery so quickly. It's just going to eat battery life. And then, when you're on the go, you got to bring the charger with you all the time. Today is a holiday in the no, today's not a holiday. This is one of those special ones where it's like if you have the bell icon on the channel, you get notified when I go live. That's why I always tell people it's like hit the bell icon to get notified when I go live, because sometimes I do random streams like this. This would be an example of that. And these are usually the more like one-off weird ones. Like we're like streaming on a laptop, on a framework laptop. That's probably the best laptop for Linux, because this one, it's like, okay, yeah, you can get like a 13-inch Pro or whatever, or some other vendor's laptop, but this thing, the framework team actually like made sure this stuff actually works with Linux, and not only one distro. They've tested like multiple distros. They tested it on Arch also, and it works with Arch distros. It's just like you kind of have to do a couple of things. So whenever they say that, what I've learned from doing all this setup with Fedora, it's like if they tell you it works out of the box, it means that it works out of the box, but you still have to do a few things. So that assumes that if you want to use Arch or CachyOS or some other like distro that they have community support for, you will absolutely have to do sudo commands and tweaks and things like that. Like, that's just how it is. And that's going to turn away the average gamer. I'm going to tell you right now, the average gamer, I try to get average gamers to go to Linux. My conversion rate so far is like 1 out of like maybe 17 people. I managed to convert 1 person to Linux out of 17 people. And granted, these are normal gamers. These are not tech enthusiasts. They are not people who know how to do command line. I mean, these are people that the only thing, when you tell them they need to do something in the command line, the only thing that to them means open command prompt in Windows or PowerShell and type ping space google.com. That is the equivalent of that is the extent of their knowledge of what they can do in command line, in the CLI. Ping space google.com. Those type of people. And I got one person to actually convert to Linux. The rest of them, no. I think 2 of them tried it and immediately went back to Windows after the second day. Or one of them, I think, went back to Windows within 24 hours. So, because I told them, it's like, man, it's easy. You don't even have to commit to it. All you gotta do is install Rufus on your gaming computer, and that you have to mount Ubuntu or Fedora, whatever. Like, I think in the case of one of them, it was Bazite. I told someone to try Bazite. I told another person to try Ubuntu, and the other one, I think it was also Ubuntu. And all of them tried it. The one with Bazite, within 24 hours, gave up, which is weird because Bazite is the one where it's like you can't really break stuff in Bazite. So I was kind of surprised. And then the 2 with Ubuntu, one of them kept it, or like they didn't keep, they liked it. And I can't remember what they did. I think so the individual that liked Linux, the experience on Linux, went and dug out like a 15 or 20-year-old no, not 20-year-old. It was like a 10 plus year old laptop that had dead battery, and proceeded to install Linux on it, and was surprised, man. Like, ancient hardware, and Linux works. Everything works. It runs. Alright, it's almost done. This is a lot of shader. You guys know Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds has a ton of shader compiling. Vulkan is currently at 94% compiling. And this is a laptop doing this. Look at those 24 threads on a laptop. Alright, here we go. Monster Hunter Wilds. Oh, here we go. More shader compiling. How's the laptop fan noise? Well, I'm wearing headphones, so I can hear it. It's not quiet. I can hear it when it's gaming. I mean, I could hear it while it was compiling the shaders. It was actually louder while compiling the shaders than when it was playing the game. But these are really good temperatures, though. Now, you be the judge of how loud it is, because you guys can see, I mean... Wait, hold on, where's the... The fan is at... One of the fans is at 4,600 RPM. 4,600 RPM. I like that it shows me the docking station. The docking station. My Thunderbolt 5 docking station has an internal fan. The dock is running 4,400 RPM, 57 degrees on the docking station. Thunderbolt 5. Thunderbolt 5 dock. This is the other fan. Remember, the Framework 16 has dual fans and quad exhausts. It has exhausts out the back and exhausts out the side. Intake from the top where the keyboard is and underneath. So dual fans. Both of them are running 4,658 RPM. Fan 0 and fan 2. I don't know what this is exactly. Oh, that's the fan. Wow, okay. I don't know what... This is the PWM number. And then you got the docking station fan. So yeah, it's definitely loud. 4,000 RPM, you can definitely hear that. Oh, I bet this is running at 4K. This looks like... Oh no. Oh my goodness. Okay, 1440p. Yeah, that's because I manually set this 4K monitor to 1440p. Because I don't want to... I mean, this is a laptop. This is like a Not even a new laptop GPU. You know, this is like a mid-range. This is a mid-range RDNA 3 from like 3 years ago. So, all right. So it defaulted to medium. It did not turn on frame gen. So we're gonna, and it's recommending performance tier for 1440p. So I don't even know what that resolution is. All I know is it's less than 1080p. And then it's doing like a mix of whatever these. Basically medium preset. Medium preset with FSR 3.1.5. I like how Monster Hunter shows all the specs. AMD Ryzen AI 9 HX370 with Radeon 890M. 96 gigabytes of DDR5 SODIMM at 5600. Whoa! What is this? I just realized something. Monster Hunter is declaring the mobile RX 7700S as a 7600 XT desktop GPU. This is fascinating because when I was running some commands in Linux earlier today to look at the drivers and the GPU, it was listing it like a family. It was basically saying, I think I saw RX 7600 XT slash 7600 slash 7700S slash 7700. Really interesting. 8 gigs of VRAM. So what's interesting, I'm surprised it's saying 7600 XT. You know what? I bet I know why it's doing this. It's doing this because in Linux, when the Mesa driver, when it identifies the hardware ID family is printed in a list, in like a JSON list. And the first value in the array is 7600 XT. The second value is 7600. The third value, I believe, is 7700. And then the fourth value is 7700S, which is what this GPU actually is. Because the 7600 XT, you guys know, that is a desktop GPU that has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, which this doesn't have. So that is interesting. And then the GPU driver version, this is the Linux kernels. This is what is this? Kernel version 6. It's either 7.0 or whatever the last 6. Whatever one was right before 7.0. So that's the kernel version. So the Mesa driver in there, 99.10.2. That's the open source AMD Radeon driver. And then direct storage is enabled using the GPU, not the CPU. Otherwise, it would say CPU. And this is the magic change that Capcom did back in January or February of this year, which magically fixed all the performance problems that had plagued this game all throughout last year. So by changing from CPU-based decompiling of the textures to GPU accelerated decompression of textures, that's basically what Direct Storage 2.0 is. They went from Direct Storage 1.0 to Direct Storage 2.0, and now all of a sudden it runs amazingly well. So let's just go ahead and jump in here and see how this game runs. Is this the same method as the 5070 Ti laptop with the... Yeah, you could think of it that way. Yeah. I'm pretty sure in Linux it would probably list them as a family. It would be an array of GPUs all based off of it's all based off of a certain chip, though. Like with this one, I believe it's Navi 33. So all the Navi 33 GPUs are all lumped together in one big happy family. Alright, you guys can see we're getting... Okay, it's not running that particularly well. Okay, it's getting a little bit better. There was some traversal stutter loading in here, but it is running without frame gen. We are getting, at medium preset, we're getting about 40 something in the camp area. This is a game that requires frame gen. We are going to enable. I just kind of wanted to see what is our like base level numbers here. Alright, let's try frame gen, and hopefully this doesn't crash the game. Because we're on Linux, you don't know what's going to happen. And just like that, the magic of Proton, man. Now that is what I'm talking about. Wow, okay. And all of a sudden, buttery smooth. Fantastic. And the whole game, man, this is multiplayer. We're in a multiplayer lobby right now. And let's go ahead. Is there anything for me to... Oh, let's talk to Santiago. Let's see what he got. You got anything? You got nothing? Okay. Alright, let's go and test. Let's just go... Oh, there's some quests right here. There's some stuff going on. Let's go to the festival. The Spring Festival is underway because we are in May right now. Dude, I'm actually impressed. This is pretty good. This is so much better than how... Because you guys, if you guys remember, I actually live streamed Monster Hunter Wilds during the open beta last year, in February of last year. We looked at this game with a desktop 7600 XT, the full desktop GPU, and the performance was significantly worse than what we are seeing right now. And that was on Windows. So Capcom has made a huge improvement in terms of the performance of the game. And Valve, man, Proton, this is incredible. RE Engine. RE Engine. This is incredible. Look at that GPU. 100%, 98 to 100% GPU utilization, and 5.3 gigabytes of VRAM. What do you mean by Linux native? This is absolutely Linux native. What do you mean? There's no Windows. There is zero Windows in this. This is straight up Linux. Wow. But you can tell this game, even in Linux, this game is pulling 20.6 gigs of system RAM. Monster Hunter is a beast. Is it using Proton? How do you tell? I think it is. I think all these games are using Proton. If the question is, was it compiling Vulkan shaders? Yes. That's actually a good question. I don't know how to tell the difference between Linux native and Proton. When someone says Linux native, I think like we're not running Linux in a VM on Windows. or we're not running Windows in a VM on Linux so we can play the game. No, this is just straight up like install Steam, install Monster Hunter, and launch the game. That's all we did. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, is there a way to tell? Because I would like to know if there's a way to tell if the game is using Proton or not. I don't know how to tell. I like how the game just, it's smooth, and I can press the super button, I can double press super button, and I can bring up all my apps and stuff on Fedora, and the game is smooth in the background. The big task manager's over on that other monitor. Man, this setup, this is the Linux enthusiast setup right here. Triple monitors, laptop display, Thunderbolt 5 docking station on an AMD laptop with Bluetooth. We got Bluetooth going. You know, we got game controller support just straight up working. It's a Microsoft Xbox Series X controller of all things, and it's working on Linux. Is Wine running? C in the system monitor? Let me see. Alright, let's take a look. System monitor. What am I supposed to look for? Wine? Just search for wine? Wine server is running. Wine device.exe is running. Wine device.exe, wine server, and something called Xalia.exe. XALIA.exe. Why are these... How are .exes running on Linux? How is that even possible? .exes? I didn't even know .exes were a thing that could run on Linux. Oh, one thing I was gonna say, man, Ubuntu LTS 2604 has a massively improved system monitor. That system, I don't even know if they call it system monitor, but Ubuntu's got a really nice, slick, like task manager, like native thing now. It's a lot nicer than system monitor in terms of what it shows you. It's a lot more like the Windows one. It's built in, man. That's why Ubuntu, all those people who just don't really care about Ubuntu, Ubuntu's good. There's a reason why Ubuntu has the market share that it has among like Linux users. It's because they're doing something right. Because I feel like their approach is the most utilitarian approach of all the Linux distro philosophies. You know what I'm saying? Like theirs is the most utilitarian. It's the most pragmatic, and it's the most like down to earth, the way I see it. Click the eye info icon on the game's library page. Click the eye. Where is that? I don't see the eye. I mean, it literally is the same thing that I see on... Oh, like Steam? Steam on Linux looks exactly the same as how it looks on Windows. I don't see anything to look... I can't find that eye info icon. I don't see that. Oh, okay. Show game default. I found it. If the details state Steam Linux runtime. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that anywhere. All it says is single player, multiplayer, cooperative play, achievements, cloud saves, family sharing, full controller support, DualShock support, DualSense support, Steam Input API, and HDR support. That's all it says. It doesn't mention Steam Linux runtime. So I don't know. Wine could be running from a previous game that we were running earlier, like Fatal Frame. So this one might be native Linux. The fact that the multiplayer works natively, like the anti-cheat, all that stuff's working with no problem, kind of makes me think that it might be Proton. But the thing is, Proton also has trouble with anti-cheat, so I don't know. It could also be native. We gotta find the Pogi. Where did Pogi go? Hold on. I don't know. You know, I can hear the fan noise. Do you guys hear the fan noise? I don't think you guys hear I can hear the fan noise on the laptop. Through my headphones. But that's because I only ever use open back headphones. I never use closed back headphones. Where's that Pogey? Oh.
声が聞こえる。近いな。
Oh.
この近くだ。
Was he above me?
しまった。逃げられた。
Arch? What about Arch? Oh wow, there's a coin.
水の中に。
Where'd he go? I don't know where that. Oh, wait, did he go up here? You know what? I've never even been up here. I didn't even know you could go up here. Man, I lost track of him. I don't know where he is. Did he go to the waterfall? Oh, maybe over here? Did he go here? No. I don't know where he went, man. I lost sight of the Pogey, and I don't know, did he go this way? Maybe he went this way? Did anybody see like a random pig wearing some kind of weird outfit? I don't know. None of the NPCs probably. I think I'm going the wrong way. Oh!
まずい。このままでは。
What? Fell in the water. At least now I know which way he went. He went this way. Hey, what is it like when you use Arch by itself though? Like without something, like you're not doing cache OS. What is Arch like without it? Because I've heard people tell me Arch is like the worst distro to recommend beginners if they don't have any experience. I think he went this way? I can kind of hear him. Uh-oh, uh-oh. What?
プーギーが。いや、今いいかな。君に一つ大事な頼みがあるのだが。
What, Arch Linux? But I mean, people make it sound like it doesn't have anything pre-installed. Like it's just a command line prompt, that's it. Like, it's almost like you're working in PC DOS. That's the impression that I get. This Downy Crake leader, this guy likes mint. I can't tell, is it the frog or is the actual, like, bird? I can't tell. Just make a note. Just play some music.
よし、確保した。ん？これはハーブ？
Yeah, man, this laptop though for Linux is fantastic. I have never found a laptop that with Linux that is this easy to use Thunderbolt docking station over USB 4, fingerprint reader for the ease of login, webcam, the other external webcam, like all this stuff just straight up working. Like easy mode. Because that's what they need to get. Linux needs to get to that point if they want people, if they want mass adoption, like that's what it's going to take. Otherwise, Apple and Microsoft are going to continue to reign supreme. It's that simple. But dude, this laptop, does anybody in the chat like have a framework? It doesn't have to be the one that I'm using. Like, do you use a framework device? Yes, no, or I'm interested. There. Pulls up, the new pulls up. I like how just by testing these random games in Linux, I'm actually accomplishing stuff in the game. Like the Fatal Frame thing, we didn't accomplish anything in Pragmata though, but we accomplished an objective in Fatal Frame. I randomly stumbled across this random side quest, this collaboration with Ichiran, and apparently, okay. Yeah, we built the laptop. I like that I can actually build the laptop. Mission complete. Oh wow, my hunter rank went up. I need to fix my arm. I'm still wearing like the New Year's and the holiday winter break outfit stuff. Ichiran will be staying at the Grand Hub and giving out order forms. Okay. Oh wow, look at that. How do I get one? How? Okay. Alright, well, I'm happy. This game works, and this is a game that I will continue to play. Not so much this year, but definitely next year when the expansion comes out. Next year is another Monster Hunter Wilds year. Like last year. This year's not so much a Monster Hunter year. It's kind of what I consider the off-season year for this game. Alright. Frame gen works, all that stuff works, man. The magic of Proton, assuming it's Proton that's doing this. That's great. Alright, well, let's see. I think this is probably a good stopping point. Oh, I want to test one more game. I tested this game earlier. I don't know what's going to happen. Actually, hold on. Yeah, do they fix, when they say they fix all platforms, Do they fix Linux? I don't know. I'm kind of scared to try this game. We're going to try Crimson Desert and see if it actually works without going to Proton Hotfix. Although it says hotfix, but that was the game. This will be the last game. Actually, hold on. A cancel? I don't want to. I think I remember what happened last time I tried this game, and it hard froze the whole system on the other computer that we're running Linux on. That was Ubuntu. So I have to go. Actually, we're gonna skip this game. We're gonna try a different game because Crimson Desert is. I'd have to test that one offline. I don't want to like crash the stream, so we're gonna test a different game. But this other game gave me some trouble with the monitors. Like it like never launched on the monitor that it's supposed to launch on. It kept going to like the wrong monitor. So let's see if this is fixed now or if this actually works this time. The Legend of Heroes. Okay. There it is. Okay. Falcom. Okay, it went to the correct monitor this time. This game would like start up on the monitor over there, and then I would try to like change it, and then would go there, and it'd go to some like 5K resolution. Okay, 1440p on display number 1, which is the 4K monitor, but we've manually set the monitor in the display settings to 1440p because I don't expect this GPU to be able to game at 4K at decent frame rates. Alright, so we're in. Now this is a game, so okay, you guys told me to look for wine in the system monitor.
Welcome to the Trion Mall. Here.
Hold on. I want to see process. You said wine. Yeah, that wine process is still there. I still see it.
You'll also find
This game is unique because this is not your typical like Unreal Engine 5 or some popular engine. This is actually the Falcom, like this is their in-house engine that they made themselves.
Looks like you are deep into the Linux rabbit hole. I am also diving deep into color science and display calibration lately and can finally achieve the perfect calibration for my 4000 nits S95F.
Fourth. Yeah, man, I wonder about that. Every time you mention like living room setup with the nits, it's all about the nits. Yeah, it makes me keep thinking like at some point I need to probably consider upgrading my living room setup because my living room setup is the most basic setup that I have never changed in forever. I still have a 1080p. I don't even have a 4K TV. Like I still have a 1080p TV. I think it's like 44 inches. It's like a 44-inch 1080p television. Super old. It's like a Westinghouse, 60 hertz. You know, basic stuff. Basic LCD panel. I don't even know. It's probably LED. I think it's LED based. I don't think it's CCFL. I don't think it's that old. And yeah, I keep thinking about that, but then I think about how like I don't know, if I was gonna game on the living room setup, I would need to put my
Have you tried Neverness to Everness?
I'd have to put my PlayStation 5 Pro in there, and then it would not be connected to my capture card anymore. It would just kind of complicate the setup. But yeah, that's interesting because the thing that I noticed this year is not a really good year to be like buying a bunch of computer parts like memory because of memory SSDs, especially SSDs recently. So it's like, yeah, I feel like delving into other hobbies as a tech enthusiast, like what you're doing with the calibration, LCD, or not LCD, just panel technology. Yeah, like you should, I assume you've come across all the different color space standards, like sRGB, the difference between NTSC, even maybe like old school PAL, the PAL regions. I don't know what Hong Kong used back in the day. I don't know if they were PAL based like the EU, or if they were using NTSC like North America and Japan. Japan also had like another variant of NTSC. But then there's also the sRGB, the DCI standards, Adobe's RGB standards for color spaces. Then there's all the different like bit depth color, like 8-bit versus 10-bit, 12-bit on the panels. You know, there's a lot of stuff to unpack there. So yeah, that is definitely an enthusiast like hobby altogether. Like panel technology, because you know there's OLED, there's mini LED. Mini LED is getting really, really good right now.
Alrighty.
For that knit technology. Have you tried Neverness to Everness? I heard of it actually. Yeah, hold on. You reminded me of. Yeah, hold on. Have I tried it? No. Have I heard of it? Yes. But no, I have not tried it. What about it though?
Technical support is only an ask away.
Neverness to Everness.
So don't hesitate to reach out for assistance.
You have all the latest in tech, but your TV is from the last day. Yeah, man, Linux is good. It's good. I mean, sometimes the biggest problem that Linux has is if you're on the newer distro, if you're on a newer kernel, if you need to use older apps or apps that don't change that frequently, like DaVinci Resolve and some other stuff, then you might have some problems, which will require lots of random troubleshooting. But other than that, like typical, like the hardware is solid now. Like with the latest kernel, Wi-Fi 7. For the longest time, Wi-Fi 7 was a huge problem. It was a huge hurdle to get working properly on Linux until I think kernel 6.5 or 6.6 or somewhere around there. But now it works. It's easy. And the reason why Framework gets top marks, as far as I'm concerned, for supporting Linux is because they go out of their way to actually make sure it works. Like these other vendors like HP, Dell, Lenovo, to their credit, at least on the enterprise side, so like on the ThinkPad side, Lenovo has decent support for Linux, but it's only Ubuntu. Only Ubuntu. They do not support Fedora-based distros or Red Hat-based distros. Not officially. If you open a support ticket with Lenovo, and they ask you for the operating system, and you tell them you're running Red Hat-based distros, they're gonna either, depending on who you talk to, they're either gonna immediately proceed to close the ticket and say unsupported configuration, get lost, or they're going to do what's called best effort support, which basically means that they'll take 7 to 14 days to reply to you via email, hoping that you'll eventually just go away and leave them alone, because they don't care. They don't want to be bothered. So unless you have Ubuntu, it's like good luck trying to get any vendor support if you like are scratching your head trying to figure out, for example, like how do I get DaVinci Resolve working when it officially supports a Red Hat based distro that is not Fedora or not Red Hat. Like, what do I do? Well, if you go to Framework, they're gonna be responding on the forums. If you go to Lenovo, because you install it on a Lenovo laptop, they're gonna tell you to get lost or go to Ubuntu. And then when you tell them that Ubuntu has the same problem, they're just basically gonna take like 7 days to respond. It becomes like this really, really slow, purposely slow response from the support side, because they're just trying to get you to go away, man. Or they're just hoping that you'll figure it out. you know, and then get lost. So that's kind of how it is with a lot of these different vendors. So yeah, I was told, like, if I want to install Linux on my ThinkPad, you have to install Ubuntu, or you're literally not allowed to install Linux. So I was like, okay. And they're like, if you install Arch, you're going on a pip. You're in trouble. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not going to install Arch. I swear I will not install Arch. But then I just gave up, man. I'm like, I don't want to install Ubuntu on this thing again. I've already used. No, we're just going to stick with Windows then. It just defeats the whole purpose.
Right.
It defeats the whole purpose of even bothering.
Welcome to the Treon Mall. Here you'll find Treon
Yeah, it's
Tower.
negligence from the devs, because I don't even know why they support only Rocky Linux. Like, why is it Rocky Linux, of all things? I've never even heard of Rocky Linux. Is it even good? Does anybody even know?
Well,
Newly opened this year is the
Yeah, they don't do Flatpak. DaVinci Resolve, you download a .run file. You literally download a .run file.
Sure to check out their extensive selection.
It's actually, no, it's a tar dot, or it's some compressed folder, and then you unpack it or you extract it, and then it's a run file in there. And they tell you it's like a run file. Run it. And it's supposed to work. It's like, oh, but we only, and it's like, okay, it didn't install. What do I do? And they're like, what distro are you running? Fedora 44. And they're like, unsupported config. Sorry.
Welcome to the Treon Mall. Here you'll find Treon Tower, one of Edith's major landmarks.
That's the problem that Linux users run into, man. That's why when people talk about Linux, like, they're literally, it's like they're treated as second-class citizens in the compute world, like in the application world. For apps that actually are commercially available, Linux users are always treated as second-class citizens, because you open a support ticket and you tell them you're on a Linux platform. Oh my goodness. It's like the support rep from the company, and it's like you open a support ticket, you tell them you're on Linux. The first thing they do is they roll their eyes like, really? Come on now. Why? You know, like, that's the typical response. It's like, they don't say that out loud, but it's like, here we go. It's some Linux person coming by with some weird problem because they're using Linux. And it's like, why don't they just get with the program and use Mac? Because come on, it's Mac. It's like, if you want a Unix GNU, or not even GNU, if you want a Unix-based shell, why don't you use Mac? Why do you even waste time using Linux with such little support? It's like, why? Why are you doing it wrong, bruh? You're doing it wrong. Get a Mac. Like, that's a typical response. For real. It's like, if you don't have a Mac, you're not on my level. It's like that kind of attitude sometimes. You're talking to someone who doesn't have has never owned a single Apple product ever. Like, I've never I've used a Mac, like, in school, like, a long time ago. But I've never owned a Mac, an Apple, never had an iPhone. I mean, I understand. I'm not like blind enough to not understand the benefits of the Apple ecosystem, the closed wall, closed garden ecosystem, single vendor hardware, single vendor software. They make all the rules. Everything is easy because it's a predictable platform that is completely owned by one company. So whatever they do, they know it'll work. There's no variance in the hardware the way there is on Windows and Linux, because there's no deviation from what you can purchase. Like, you're either getting a 13-inch MacBook, or you're getting a 16-inch MacBook. or I think they have like a 12 or whatever. It's like, or you're getting the desktop, which barely anybody has anymore, or the iPhone. So it's like, I understand the simplicity of it, makes it easy, and it's approachable, and it's recognizable. But at the same time, it's like, none of their stuff ever really appealed to me. Which is weird because Frameworks stuff is kind of similar to Mac, at least at first glance. But Frameworks stuff actually appeals to me. You know, I actually like... now, those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, you guys know I'm not a fan of mini PCs. I don't like mini PCs. I don't normally build mini PCs. I build big, high-end, full-fat, full-tower or mid-tower desktops, and I load them up with copious amounts of RAM, a bunch of SSDs, and multi-GPU. Like, the computer that you see behind me, that one and the one over there. There's two desktops behind me. The one over there is the Tech Thursdays computer. The one behind me is the 32-inch OLED gaming computer. Both of them have dual graphics cards in them. That's 4 GPUs behind me, right there, in 2 different computers. So I don't like mini PCs. But this, the modularity of it, the fact that you can put a handle on it and just carry it around and it becomes like a mobile PC without the laptop's display, but yet it still has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi 7 support. So like this actually appeals to me. I actually like this a lot. And then the laptop, at least the 13 and the 12 don't really appeal to me. But the 16, the laptop, the Framework 16 that I'm using right now to live stream with, this thing is probably, this might become my favorite laptop. And I don't plan on installing Windows on it anytime soon. So at one point, I felt like going back to Ubuntu and wiping Fedora off of it. But I think I'm going to stick it out and stick with Fedora for now on this laptop. Because I've gotten it to the point where everything works. I have AV1 working. Yeah, I'm missing some stuff in OBS, but it's not really negatively impacting me. The only thing that's not working for me is DaVinci Resolve. So if I can't figure out how to get that working, and it sounds like it's probably not going to work because too many libraries or something got messed up with the kernel, I'm probably going to have to find an alternative video editing application that's free to use, that can at least at a bare minimum give me similar functionality to what I have on DaVinci Resolve with Windows. So, but that'll be something. So I guess the end of it is, yeah. Let me just turn the game audio down so it's not like overpowering me. So I guess the end of this is, or the net result of it is, by me going so far into like the Linux ecosystem, now I feel like I'm going to be a lot more educated on why Linux is the way it is, why people like it, why people hate it, and why people like certain distros. Because I've now I understand why there's so many distros and why people tend to gravitate to certain distros over others. But yeah, I still understand the appeal of Ubuntu, man, because Ubuntu, the simplicity of it, I like the simplicity of it. It's very beginner friendly. That's probably why it's the most successful for the consumer market, in terms of like people who actually use it, because you look at the statistics. Now, that being said, Framework published their own internal data that shows what operating systems their employees. Now, they don't have access to what their customers are using. They have to poll them like publicly, but their internal employee staff, like all the people that work at Framework, I think it's about 22 or 21%, almost basically 1 out of 5 individual employees at Framework use Fedora as their operating system. So not Windows, not Mac, surprisingly not Mac, and not Ubuntu. But the second largest percentage of their employee staff is Ubuntu. Ubuntu's coming in at like 16%. So it's hot on the heels of Fedora. But so most of the people at Framework use Fedora, hence one of the reasons why I think there's a lot of support for Fedora. If you go look at their community forums, it's really, really easy to get answers on Fedora-related things. Ubuntu has a lot of support as well. But the thing about Ubuntu is there is a ton of online community support for Ubuntu. Like when I was searching for things for like troubleshooting the DaVinci Resolve thing, I kept getting all these things about like Debian. I'm thinking like, I'm not even looking for Debian distros. Like, why? It's because there's a ton of people using Ubuntu that are trying to get DaVinci Resolve working on Ubuntu. And that's the reason why that kept cropping up in the search results. But it seems like Arch is kind of that third. It's like always seems to be like in third place. Like the Red Hat distro always seems, it's either the Red Hat or the Debian. In this case, Fedora or Ubuntu tend to be like first or second, and they kind of go back and forth. Depending on who you ask or what time of the year, you just randomly poll the user base. And then Arch is just kind of like hangs in the back there, you know, just kind of like doing its thing. And it's usually like CachyOS or Pop or whatever. But yeah, man, it's pretty interesting diving into Linux, especially now, like with the framework stuff, making it even more approachable from a vendor support standpoint. Because, you know, honestly, if somebody is a beginner and they're interested in Linux, it is daunting to try to jump in. If this was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but with more community support now, stronger than it was, as well as actual like pretty good kernels. Like the Linux kernel is in a pretty good spot. I would say the last like four major kernel versions are quite good in terms of hardware support, like for new stuff like Wi-Fi 7, for example, and the latest Bluetooth standards. So yeah, it is definitely usable now for the average person. But I think that most people are too afraid, because it's like as soon as you bring up Linux, they imagine somebody like hammering away on a keyboard typing like sudo commands. You know, so it's like until Linux can get that like negative stigma about it that people have in their minds, I feel like it's a long way before mass market adoption. And if there's one distro that I think is going to have a good shot at actually getting to mass market adoption, it's probably going to be Ubuntu, just because of the ease of use. Anyway, guys, that's probably going to be it for this stream. Hope you guys found this weird one-off stream featuring Linux gaming on a laptop interesting. You know, it'll be interesting to see, now that I have the Framework 16, it'll be interesting to see how this laptop changes over the next several years in terms of upgradability, because Framework has proven that they've lived up to what they set out to do, where you can keep the original laptop and just slowly change parts out over time, just like a gamer's desktop or like a build-your-own PC. And I really like that about it. So definitely, this will probably become my... If I go to Linux 100%, I don't know if I'll go to Linux 100%. I feel like I don't think I'll ever 100% leave Windows. Unless I can get like a really good video editing software that completely replaces DaVinci Resolve. And until all the anti-cheats 100% work with Linux, for like those random Japanese games like Night Rain, for example, until that happens, I cannot leave Windows, like, at least not permanently. It'll be a weird duality where I actually exist on both operating systems. Android doesn't have the draconian fragmentation Linux has, though.
Welcome to the Treon Mall. Here you'll find Treon Tower, one of Edith's major landmarks. You'll also
Yeah, but so Android's not fragmented the way Linux is on the software side, but Android is fragmented. Android is fragmented on the vendor side. See, the difference between Linux and Android is Android has very strong like vendor support. Like if you buy a Samsung phone, you know Samsung is going to stand behind supporting the hardware and the software, because they have to. That is not true if you buy a HP Omen gamer laptop and you want to install Arch on it. You can't install Arch and then go to HP. It's like, hey man, I need. There's like this thing that I'm running into with this laptop that I bought from you, and they're like, what is this weird diagnostic log? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what's your Windows version again? What's your Windows version again? Oh, it's not Windows. Oh, you're running something else. Okay. Unfortunately, that's not supported, so I'm going to have to close the case. Goodbye. That's basically the response, man. That's basically how you live as a second-class citizen on Linux. Like, this is the thing. Like, that doesn't happen on Android. That is the biggest difference. Yeah, but until there's, but like I was listening to something. So there was an ASUS guy. Actually, there was an ASUS guy presenting. I think it was a few months ago at, I don't know if it was GTC or somewhere. There was an ASUS sales rep presenting on behalf of like in partnership with AMD. Oh yeah, it was like an AMD and ASUS thing. AMD and ASUS were presenting at this event. And somebody, during the Q&A section, someone raised their hand, and their question was, what are you guys doing to support, like, applications running on your platform? Like, it was whatever the Asus laptop was that they were showing off for those running Linux-based operating systems. And at first, the AMD guy kind of like looked over at the Linux guy, and not the Linux, at the ASUS guy, and the ASUS guy was kind of like, "Okay, I guess that question is for me." And he's like, "Well," he had to think about it for a second. He would do his eyes were going up and to the left, so you knew that he was kind of like having to be like, "Oh, it's one of these type of questions." So he was like, well, we stand behind our hardware. We have the world's best hardware. We make the best technology. We are a technology company first, and we give you the best experience on Windows. So though we recommend Windows, our hardware is so good that you will have a good experience regardless of what operating system. He basically gave some marketing BS answer like that. Like, okay, that does not actually answer the question. The fact that he mentioned Windows for the best experience in his response, that right there is all you need to know. That is kind of the mentality that they have when it comes to, oh, it's one of these Linux people, man. Oh, okay, it's one of these Linux guys. All right, we gotta respond in a way that, sounds convincing. So, okay. So that's how it is, man. So it's tough to go to like 100% abandon Windows when like the army of companies that build all the hardware are super heavy loyal to Windows. No, the person who asked the question asked a legitimate question. I don't think the answer from the Asus guy was... I don't think his answer was terrible. His answer was really not... I mean, it didn't really address the major concern, though. Because his answer included, well, our platforms are designed to give the best experience on Windows. Which he's not lying. That is true. There is truth in that statement. But what it implies is that when they're doing their testing and verification in their R&D, they're literally not testing it with Linux. Nowhere in their testing setup do they include Linux at all. So that's basic, and he knows that, and that's why he answered it that way. So he wasn't lying. He was giving a decent answer, but it's like, well, the guy was asking about Linux, and you answer him back with Windows. It's like. Yeah, no, his answer was acceptable. Yeah. But that's the thing, man. That's why you go look at some YouTube channels that focus on Linux, like Level 1 Linux. That's a pretty good one. And that's why a lot of these Linux media outlets, Pharonix, Level 1, I mean, there's a lot of other ones too in the Linux ecosystem. They're like, everybody's on board supporting Framework because Framework's literally the only vendor that goes out of the way to actually have official support for Linux. Now, granted, it's only for certain distros because they're small and they can only test so many distros, right? But the fact that Bazite's fully supported, all the way back to like, I forgot what kernel version and on what first Framework laptop from like 5 years ago. It's like, wow, okay. Although Bazite, to be fair, Bazite's an immutable distro, so, and it's Red Hat based, so it's kind of easy to test. You can't really break a lot of things in it, which is probably the reason why they recommend it to gamers. They aren't the only vendor, but they're probably the only vendor with bespoke hardware. System 76, yeah, I know about System 76, but System 76 doesn't go out of their way to try to like build up the ecosystem, you know what I'm saying? Like, System 76 and Tuxedo, they do it kind of like on the down low. You're never gonna build mass market appeal if that's your approach. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, because it's like, how are you gonna make a dent in Apple and Windows if that's how you do things? You know what I mean? Like, if you just sell like rebrands of Clevo, it's like, it's fine, it's good, they support it, but it's like, it's not gonna change the fact that like all the other hardware vendors like Asus, HP, etc., Dell, whoever, are just kind of like business as usual, and it's like, oh, here comes one of those Linux people. Oh, here we go again. Really? You know, like that's the attitude that everybody has to the Linux community. So it's like, that attitude has to change, and it's not an easy thing to change overnight. You know what I'm saying? But this is the reason why everybody's like supporting Framework, because Framework is the only company that's actually doesn't have that attitude. It's like, they openly don't have that attitude.
Welcome to the Treon Mall. Here you'll find Treon Tower, one of Edith's major landmarks. You'll also find the Vern Store, a movie theater, affordable
The terminal doesn't scare me.
and other various
I was a big MS-DOS fan too. Did you ever use PC-DOS back in the day? Like PC-DOS before it was MS-DOS? Before Microsoft and Intel betrayed IBM in the Clone Wars? Begun the Clone Wars have. When Michael Dell came in and the Clone Wars started and all these clones of the IBM PCs started showing up. It was literally the Clone Wars of computers in the 90s, or the early 90s, late 80s.
one of Edith's major landmarks. You'll also find the Vern Store, a movie theater, affordable clothing retailers, and other various boutiques to peruse. Stop by the Vern Store and
Microsoft hasn't really done that much with AI though. I feel like Android and Apple are pushing all these AI things more than Microsoft. Microsoft was doing that like 2 years ago with the NPUs and all the new processors, but from my point of view, Microsoft hasn't really been pushing it that hard. It's really Apple, and then you have all the different Android phone brands. The reason why I know this is because I'm currently in the market for a new phone. I have to get a new phone before July, because Android 13 is... My phone is stuck on Android 13. It's not getting support, like security updates and stuff anymore, and you know, like, my employer's like, you need to get a new phone because your phone, you know, can't be on our network anymore after July, because you can't go to Android 14. They're saying Android 14 is like the minimum allowed. So I need to be on. So I was like, okay, I gotta get a phone that has Android 16. which is the latest one. So it's like I'm in the market for a phone again now. But in looking at phones, it's the phone manufacturers that are really pushing all this AI stuff. In fact, if you go and watch reviews on phones, reviewers are dinging phone manufacturers for not, if they're not doing enough with AI. Like if a phone is like bland in the sense that it's not like shoving AI this and AI that into the phone, then they're like giving it a lousy review, unless the camera's like really good. But it's honestly like, how important is the camera when you're buying a phone? I mean, yeah, it matters, but it's not like the most important thing. But it's like, oh, if you're not doing AI, with your phone, you're not doing it right. We're gonna give you a bad review, 6 out of 10. You know, it's like, what? AI HX 470. No, AI HX 470 is this year. It'll be out like sometime this year or later. It's gonna be like second half. It's the refresh of what I'm using right now. No, it's not way better than the 370. It's basically the same thing as the 370. It's just has node improvements. It's on a revised TSMC. It's not a different node. It's the same node. It's just revised process at TSMC. The only thing that's changing is the AI NPU in the 470, I think, is like 60 tops, whereas the 370 is 50 tops. But in terms of clock speeds, TDP, like CPU layout, all that stuff is exactly the same. Memory controller, all that stuff is exactly the same. Integrated graphics, exactly the same. So no, it's not going to be a huge upgrade. AMD, so this is the thing, like about mobile. In mobility, Intel is going to dominate this year. I'm going to call it right now. AMD is going to lose market share. Now, Intel still dominates over AMD in the mobile space, like laptops. They always have, because they can just literally outmaneuver AMD due to massive, massive volume. Just flood the market with product, and then people will just buy it up. So that's the Intel strategy, and it always works for them because AMD is confined on how many wafers they can buy from TSMC. This problem that AMD runs into has only recently affected Intel because Intel has also had to go to TSMC for wafers. This is the reason why Intel's make or break moment is all down on their foundry. Intel's ability to manufacture their own chips is paramount to their ultimate survival. Because if they're forced to compete with AMD by buying chips from TSMC, buying wafers from TSMC, then it's like now they have to suffer with lower profit margins, and it becomes a huge problem for them because they're a really big company. So they have to succeed with their foundry. But Intel is going to outpace and definitely outsell AMD way more this year in mobile than they did last year, because Intel's putting out new product this year, and whereas AMD is just rebranding and refreshing like existing CPUs. So case in point, the HX 470 Gorgon Point is just a refresh of Strix Point, the 370, where they launched Panther Lake. And even the Framework Pro 13 features Panther Lake as an option. You can either get what I'm using, or you can get the Panther Lake in that 13-inch laptop. So, yeah, man, Panther Lake, the battery life on that, if the claims are true, it's insanely good battery life for x86. Panther Lake is basically Lunar Lake upgraded. It's like double Lunar Lake is what it is. And Lunar Lake was really good for like really, really small, thin and light laptops. But Lunar Lake was capped at like 32 gigs of LPDDR5, so you couldn't do like a high-end setup with Lunar Lake because it didn't have enough cores, it didn't have hyperthreading, and it didn't have a lot of RAM. You're stuck with like 32 gigs of solid RAM, so there's no upgrade path. But Panther Lake fixed all of that because of LPCAMM 2. and more cores and threads and all that stuff. So Panther Lake's really good, and that is going to sell a lot in Ultrabooks. And the other thing too is Intel's doing Arrow Lake Refresh for mobile, which Arrow Lake was already very competitive with AMD. Now, Meteor Lake was garbage compared to AMD in 2024 and 2023, but Arrow Lake was very competitive. In fact, we've done a whole video about why Arrow Lake is superior to AMD from a platform standpoint, but yet AMD is still better in certain aspects. So, namely, integrated graphics and the memory bandwidth over using soldered RAM versus Intel soldered RAM. But Intel with the LPCAMM 2 is basically leapfrogging over AMD, and Intel has that capability with not only Panther Lake but also Arrow Lake. So Intel, from a technology standpoint, Intel is objectively superior to AMD currently in the mobile space. On top of that, Intel supports, at least on some of their chipsets, you can get an Intel device with Thunderbolt 5. This is a defining moment for Intel because AMD is still on Thunderbolt 4, and when I say Thunderbolt 4, I actually mean USB 4 version 1, where Intel's on Thunderbolt 5, which is USB 4 version 2. So, or you could think of it as 40 gigabit USB 4 versus 80 gigabit USB 4. So Intel is definitely, from a technology standpoint, the go-to choice for someone who is going to be looking for like a high-end, thin and light Ultrabook laptop with really good battery life, all that kind of stuff. So we've done a video about this before. We did a whole like TED Talk thing with Paint, showing all the chips and all the breakdowns and all the architecture. So if you're new to the channel, you like this sort of discussion on the hardware, do get subscribed to the channel. We will bring this up as a topic again in the future, where I'm not playing games and we're literally doing a deep dive on the hardware. But yeah, that's AMD's just doing refreshes this year, guys. Like, it's just a bunch of refreshes, rebrands, refreshes. That's all it is. Intel's doing like new stuff, mainly Panther Lake, and the rest of their lineup's not really changing. But then at the end of the year, they're also introducing a new desktop line. So that's going to be something that's going to come later, and we're definitely going to be covering that. So do get subscribed if you want to know more about those things, because as we go through the second half of 2026, even though most likely no one's going to buy any of this stuff because it's going to be way too expensive because of the RAM, it's still, we're still going to cover it regardless. If Zen 6 comes in Q4, that makes sense, because I was saying that like last year, but then, you know, I don't know if they'll do it. It should come in Q4. If it does, Q4 will be very interesting, because Intel's launching their new CPUs at the end of this year, and if AMD also launches in Q4, then we have literally the battle of the CPUs will take place in Q4. So, but yeah, man, the framework. Oh, I keep on clicking away from the game, and that's why it keeps doing that. Because this game, as soon as you click away from it, it minimizes for some reason. It's one of those type of games. The mobile space is good, but everything is just stupidly expensive this year. And I don't know when the prices are going to come down. I'm thinking like next summer, so like about 14 months from now, we're going to start seeing the prices come back down. But yeah, we're in that weird 2021. This is 2021 all over again. If you guys know what I mean by that, Newegg Shuffle, can't buy a GPU, $3,000 RTX 3080s. You know, that's where we're at right now. It's instead of GPUs, it's RAM and SSDs. But I think next summer we're gonna start seeing the price come back down.
Well,
You want Zen 6? Yeah, I think if Zen 6 is on AM5, AMD might win on a AMD could win on a technicality of just backwards compatibility, where Intel requires you to buy like another motherboard in addition to the CPU. And then if you don't already have DDR5, because you went with like DDR4 with 13th gen or 12th gen or whatever, and you want to upgrade to the next Intel, oh my God, the cost to upgrade to Intel's next gen if you don't already have DDR5 is going to be so prohibitively expensive. We're talking like $1,500 for RAM. If assuming it stays at the current prices. Actually, no, that's not right. It might be more than $2,000. So, like $2,000 for memory plus a $500 motherboard, because everybody knows you got to spend $500 on a motherboard that has actual postcode debugs these days. Assuming the price of motherboards don't go up. So $500 for the motherboard, $2,000 for the RAM, and then the CPU is probably going to be like $900 or whatever. It's going to be priced like the D2 if you're buying the flagship. So, dude, that's like $5,000 for a PC upgrade if you want to go Intel this winter. That is not looking attractive at all. Unless you're buying like an i5 equivalent or whatever. If you're going like low-end Intel. But then at that point, it's like, is it even worth the upgrade if you're going to stay on like low core counts with no hyper-threading? So, I don't know, man. Intel's kind of going to... It'll be interesting to see what they do. I'm really interested in Intel's Nova Lake platform, because I think it's going to shake things up, but I think it's going to be super expensive and really hard to get because of RAM. But if you don't need RAM, if you already have DDR5, then, I mean, that helps a ton. That is going to help a ton. In fact, that's going to be the make or break. But anybody on AM5 already has DDR5 because they were forced to get DDR5 when they went to AM5. So that's the magic number. 5 is the magic number. If you've already got the DDR5, if you already got that AM5, you're already in. You're already in. It's like you already got your acceptance letter. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Yeah, man. I have my extra RAM, the extra RAM that's inside this framework right now. Like, dude, if I didn't have this RAM, I would not have this laptop. 96 gigs in a laptop, 96 gigabytes of DDR5 SODIMM, 5600 Crucial Micron QVL supported by framework for this laptop, so you know it is guaranteed to work out of the box at the rated speed at that density. The fact that I didn't have to spend money on this, my goodness, this would have never happened otherwise. Anyway, guys, that's a good place to stop. I think that's gonna do it. I went right at 3 hours, so this is a good stopping point. Anyway, if you're new to the channel and you like this sort of content, do get subscribed. It does motivate me to keep on making this type of content. And stay tuned. We're going to be doing the overview video tomorrow for the actual laptop, the Framework 16. So if you're curious, do get your notifications so you can watch the video. Do like the video. It does help me. I am trying to, even though we're in a market right now where it's like a lot of people are not that interested in hardware because hardware is so stupidly expensive right now, I am trying to get back in the habit of making more content that is hardware related and less gaming related. Not to alienate the people that like my gaming content, but I would say the vast majority of the focus on the channel is definitely on the technology side more so than the gaming. But that being said, it is tough to be making these type of videos when there's not a lot of interest because everything's expensive. So, but do get subscribed. Do get the bell icon so you get notified when I go live. Sometimes I am planning to do some kind of PC build video this year. I want to try to do one PC build video, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm probably going to like pull parts from like old PCs and just build them into a new-ish computer, because it's like I can't afford like new computer parts right now. I'm trying to save up for the end of the year at this point, so that I can afford either the Nova Lake or the AMD if Zen 6 shows up. So, you know, so anyway, that's gonna do it for this stream. If you guys will like the video, for tomorrow. I guess like the stream too. It helps me out. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in on an unexpected look at Fedora 45 Preview Edition on a Framework 16 featuring a Ryzen 9 HX370 with the Radeon 890M, 96 gigabytes of SODIMM, dual NVMEs, and discrete GPU, upgradable Radeon RX 7700S, and we have the integrated graphics right there. So anyway, that's where we're going to end it. Thanks for tuning in, guys, as always, and I will see you guys on Tech Thursdays, which is like 2 nights from now. So until then, take care, and I'll see you then. Thanks.